Hey guys, welcome to the closing show. It's been a great last day of trading. We have big tech giving back most of the gains they made after the bell. Likewise with Chinese ADRs, they had a bit of a bounce there. And small cappers are still in focus, guys. These ones are moving, and they're moving a lot, and there's a lot of them. Let's get to these markets here. The S&P up 1.06%, followed by the Dow only up down 1.6% and down 0.91%. Likewise with the NASDAQ. 1.14% to the downside. Toronto ending still negative on the day. Likewise with Brazil. Crude up though. We found a little bit of a bounce on that after 4 negative days in a row. Bitcoin and Ethereum, basically flat. Bitcoin down 0.2, Ethereum down up 0.19. Let's have a look at the sector board here. It's just it's a lot of red, put it that way, guys. Healthcare, some of the stuff you don't expect to see red on a day like this. It's been selling all over. I think the only respite here is some of these energy stocks don't seem to be all that bad. We've got Neil up at the big board, and he is ready to do his trade of the day, guys. Neil.
Welcome, your final trade of the day of 2022, and of course, well, maybe not. It's going to be Apple. Yeah, trade of the day is going to be Apple, as always brought to you by Day Trade the World. Realistically, big tech has been a big story all week long, all year long. Apple just recently made fresh 52-week lows, so it was going to be in play. But when you have the final trading day, sometimes it can be a little lighter volume and somewhat range bound. And we had some good trade ideas that had big breakouts, but it was this one where you had to have so much patience, and that's why I want to go over it for you. I always get the lay of the land on the higher time frame, so I'm starting with the 15-minute. So we'll show you nice little, well, I don't want to call it a nice drop, but you can see the drop from 130 that we had a couple of sessions ago, making that fresh 52-week low. What's the response to the big red day with the fresh low? You're able to hold the bottom and gap up. Now at that breakout, you had resistance here at about 127.75, channeled it, held as support, and then you broke higher. So it's this area here where it garnered support and broke out into the open that I'm looking for. Now, it was a red day today, so when we broke down in Apple, I wasn't really looking for that to be a long trade. What I was sort of seeing was the opportunity for a break down off of that level. So it was a 127.80, 75. That was the break on the higher time frame, that 15-minute. Once it took it out, it was just, I'm going short. Now, the first move down when it took that level involved some slippage, because markets just open. It was breaking major support. So you'll see I actually slipped about an extra 10 cents to get in. That just means you don't actually get the price at which you triggered your stop order. When you cross the market, you end up getting a price that's worse because there's less liquidity in that range. So I get slipped down there, and we get right to 127.50, and I mean literally 127.50. Buyer steps in, and it bounces. And this is all on a 3-minute chart. It comes all the way back up, wicks it. I'm like, okay, it's still pretty good, but let's see what happens when it gets back down to 127.50. Buyer bounces it again, so I get some out at 52. We come back upside, and I say, well, if it's going to be valid in this channel, the market's looking pretty weak here. Let's just rinse and repeat it and maintain the short position. So at this point, I'm just shorting 127.80, getting out scalp 127.51s and 52s in front of the buyer, and holding for a bigger flush, because my eyeballs are really just, we recover, put in a lower high, you break the channel support, let's see if we don't get that low from the other day. Now obviously that doesn't take place. We have what I like to call, it's not really a capitulation candle, but what you get is another reload. It tries to run stops at the top, managed to hold through because it doesn't clear through 128, and then you get a big flush that actually breaks very briefly that 127.50. Now, I was already in front of it getting some out for the scalp trade, but when that happened, I'm thinking, it's go time. Now, if there's a mistake that got made, you guys can probably figure out what that might be. Nothing wrong with getting some out here because I was already holding for the bigger move down to 126. But once that kind of a candle happens and you've been struggling off that channel, I don't mind reloading it. It's how you reload. I don't need to reload it on the way back up because I get stopped out almost right away. Now, if you reload here, the way that I would prefer to do it and why I would do it better the next time is you allow it to get to 128. If it breaks 128, only get back in if it flushes into the downside. So it rejects a 128 break and then comes back in, settles the range again, and then I'm shorting it on the way back down. That's because of the wick bottom it made and strong move back up. A lot of times it's that kind of nuance that'll lead me to say, you know, you don't always have to reload just because it's a resistance area. The price action's telling you something got a little bit stronger down there, that buyer's a little more legit, and they're respecting it more. Once it broke out, it just came down to our top end of the range, baby. That 129, again, the top end of the channel. I wait till we get there. I'm thinking shorts on Apple. You've already taken out the high, and then afternoon it is scalp zone. Off that 129, we're taking 20, we're taking 30, and then you get a huge flush. Now, I was sitting on VWAP when some news dropped. There was a big repo, and that caused the market to drop relatively rapidly. I was already on the bid. I got taken out at VWAP at that time. A bit unfortunate because I ended up giving up about 30 pennies on the move. However, when you have a flash move to the downside like that, if you hold previous resistance, wick bottom, I'm in long. Give it to the low of the day. I'm in one. I actually liked it and had to get more shares a little bit higher, but 128.15 long. You're giving it to 128 where it's bounced off. That's the same key level that we're stopped out before. Scalping it in through VWAP. It does give it up. And 2 days in a row now, as I'm doing the trade of the day, I can tell you the shares I have left on, I got to stop at 128 for break even, and I'm trying to kit some shares out right back at that high of the day to see if it can get there. Not sure it can, but we've got a key level for a couple of shorts that give you the opportunity to know where to get in, where to get out, how we could have done better, and even catching a bit of a market flush long using said levels. Apple gave you all of these opportunities, and that's why it's a trade of the day. Great learning experience, positive stock as well. And as always, hey, first off, have a fantastic new year, everybody. And if you want to get your day trading journey started the right way, check out Day Trade the World.
Thanks for that, Neil. That's the link to the watch list, guys. Sign up. Get that sent to your inbox every single day. I use it. It helps me set up for my day. It helps me know what's moving, and it ends up being indispensable for me. Let's get right into it. You heard Neil speak about Apple and the short that he took later on after the flush came in at around 115. That's not the only one that was spared. Let's have a look at the big tech watch list here. They're all red. Google, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, you name it. They're all red. Now, the one that's holding up the best so far is Netflix, up 1.7% after the bell. Mentioned that one during the midday show. Microsoft, though, coming to this very critical level. Low of day. Looks like this break here could not low of day at around 236.83, but definitely this more recent low. What do we do with Microsoft, guys?
You tell me, Prad. Prad, what?
This is the Dog Pound Hour. We are Trader TV Live, the station that hits you with a fat trade in your big head. I'm here with DJ Easy Neil. This is the Gregor. Last trading day of the year. If you're still here, you obviously love this. You are a degenerate. Welcome. Let's get the last few pieces of blood out of this market. And yeah, we're all still here. How's it going, guys?
I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to be talking about because I'm loving it already. So if you don't know, Greg is the trading floor manager here on the Toronto floor, the Toronto main office floor. He's a great dude. He knows tons about the market, so we will talk the markets from time to time, but I feel like we're going to have a ton of fun, except for the fact the market be falling, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The market's falling. You know, you guys were making much ado about that Chinese headline. Honestly, we're in a pretty tight range. That was about 10 handles. So, you know, we're still looking a little weak here. Obviously, it's been a tough year. Maybe we see a sell-off into the close today. You can't catch the trades if you're not here. And, yeah, we're going to look for a few more opportunities. I know you guys have been looking at Cala a lot. I'm long Cala right now. And, yeah, what are you looking at, Neil? How's the trading day today?
So I hate the fact that I only have one short. Microsoft, we're supposed to be talking about Microsoft apparently. Allegedly, that's what Sharif was just saying. And I see big caps are retracing. So I just talked about Apple, no need. My stop's at 128. I feel like that's probably going to get hit. I got this wick on Microsoft, but the previous, like the low from the morning sits about 50 cents from here. We haven't even touched that low. Maybe I can do here's a daily chart because this is a stock poised. If you look at the 50 period, it's been bouncing off the 50 this week, but has not broken this channel down at 234. So next week, Mark down 234 on Microsoft, because that doesn't hold, we got troubles on this stock. You're holding the 50 period as resistance. If you break that channel down after holding the 50, typically speaking, that can be a little bit of a trend reversal. It hasn't broken the bottom yet, so I don't think I want to take a trade here. I'm really just working my LUV short and concerned about two things. Apple long stops at 128. You guys just saw this. I got that bounce on what actually wasn't the China news. It was the repo. There was a repo auction, and that's what caused the move in the market. I had a tinfoil hat theory, because as we were trying to figure out what just happened in the market when everything dropped, I was like, well, Apple dropped. I was short that. Nvidia dropped. I was short that. I was long Meta. Meta dropped into VWAP. I'm still long in front of 118.50. And then I was looking at Pinduoduo, which went sideways and stopped out. I was looking at Li Auto, which is just going higher since that news. And I had this conspiracy theory that it was like Chinese algos selling the US market and then buying, whatever. Well, I was just making crap up. I was joking with Greg. That's why he said that. But the move was the repo. I think we're headed to these lows. I'm going to have to stop out of both of these at about break even. That's Meta and Apple. But conversely, something like Li Auto, ever since shorting off 20, then reversing, it's just been a pure long. I guess I just skipped ahead to Chinese ADRs. My bad.
So we're doing the rundown thing now. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the big cap tech positions right now, those have always been the safe ones. But I mean, you look at a stock like Google, and full disclosure, Google's my biggest holding. I know Pratt has been talking a lot about ChatGPT, but this is like Google search on steroids. I don't even think you really need Google search anymore. You can correct it. You can ask it more questions. So, you know, you're looking for strength from any of these things. Obviously, you guys have covered Tesla extensively. Tesla's in a rough way. Tesla was $154 a share last Monday, okay? And now we're sitting at 120. We've had a bounce of what, like 10 bucks? So, yeah, I mean, Tesla's looking weak. Apple, yeah, Apple's got to be the strongest of the bunch. Also weak price action. I don't know, I'm not a big phone guy, but do people need a new phone every year? Do people need to spend $1,000 on a phone a year?
To be cool, they do apparently.
Despite what I thought was going to happen on the show today, I am in a pretty spicy position on Kala here. Luca talked me into this one. He's looking pretty excited over there.
You got to zoom in to make that look.
I'm pretty sure I just saw his hat spin around a few times on his head, and there might be some steam coming out of his ears. He's loving it. You know, there's always something for everyone in this market, and even though it's the last trading session, quiet session, I would not want to be short this thing right now. I will say that. Hopefully, we got a lot of people in the chat long, and I guess it's going to be all about Kala. Are we going to talk about small crappers? Is that? I'm not exactly sure what that means.
That was a perfect segue.
All right, yeah.
It's almost like you do this every single day, Greg.
I mean, how many?
I should just.
There's a lot of small crappers out there. There's a lot of small cappers out there. Obviously, Kala's the exciting one right now. This one has not been this high in a long time. I'm guessing pharma based on the name, based on the move. I should probably look that up to see what it is, but
it is Kala Pharmaceuticals. But that's also a fairly. The thing about it, the reason why I know you can say that is you very rarely see a chart like this where you get a sustained move up where it isn't some kind of a small cap big pharma, because you get explosion when you have, like, if you got one drug in your pipe, like what can cause a stock to go from 3 to 30 to whatever it might be. You have a single drug in your pipeline, all of your fortunes are tied to that, and then it gets a positive catalyst, and then you can have something like this. I mean,
these are highs we haven't seen since April of this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you know, okay, anytime you see a pharma stock pump up like this, what you're worried about is you're worried about heavy bag holders who just come in and start selling it, right? But, I mean, the volume on this thing is pretty good. It's already traded 12 million shares. So you got to think that maybe it's worked through some of that selling. I don't know what the average volume on this thing is, but I'm guessing it's quite low. Yeah, quite low to say the least. If by quite low you mean about 10,000 shares. Obviously, it's been ramping up lately. We traded 50 million a couple days ago. But prior to that, you know, on Monday, this thing traded 20,000 shares. So, yeah, it's probably churned through a lot of that selling now. I don't know. This could be very, very interesting. We've seen, I mean, a lot of things have happened in the market this year. One thing that's definitely happened is we've had some runaway stocks. Stocks that once they started going up, they just did not stop. What was that IPO called that had like, that went up to like $500 a share?
HKD?
HKD. That one was nuts, man. That
2,500,
and you could have had it for 50 bucks. So, I mean, I don't know how you catch a move like that. I don't even know how you make money off something like that, but this has definitely been a year for these small cappers, these small crappers, as Sharif put it, just going crazy. And hopefully we get a little more action now. Do we keep churning? What happens now?
No,
keep going?
so basically we do that. You finish a thought like a champion, and then we go right to Sharif, and then he talks about the next thing, and then I'll talk about LUV, probably focus on Kala again, talk about Hayes and the super. Thank you for the super chat, Hayes Records. Gonna try and turn 2K into here. I'll just read it right now before we go back. Can we come to my? Yeah, thank you, Lucas. Thank you for the super chat, Hayes Records. Gonna try and turn 2K into 50K next year. Holla, go for it. It's all about. Look, some people say you set goals, don't set goals. I think you do whatever you like. Take what the market gives you. Take whatever lessons you learn. It's all about just trying to grow for the next year. Good luck to you, Hayes. But apparently, we need to move on to the next topic.
Well, we're not quite done with these small crappers yet, guys. Look at ATNF. We're near day's highs, 355. We're printing 347, so it's forming up real nice here, holding view up. This one could be an interesting play going into the afternoon. But yeah, ironically enough, it's been, like Greg said, it's been the time for these small crappers. Now, guys, is love oversold? I mean, today would mark the second green day in a row after that epic move down off the cancellations. Are we looking for a bounce possibly in the new year or even today on love?
So two things. One, I can't believe ATNF is back at 350 because I was long it at 3 and it only gave me 350. I reloaded it and lost, and I should be back into this thing at $3.
That's right.
I can't believe I didn't do that. That's ridiculous, man. Anyways,
I want to talk really quickly about ATNF versus love. Okay, sorry to cut you off.
No, go for it, man.
But you look at a stock like ATNF. Okay, it's up 86% on the day. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, it's up 90% on the day to a level it was at 2 weeks ago. Okay, so, good luck and congratulations whoever's in it. That's a great one-day gain. But a stock like Kala, which is the one that really has my attention right now, that one has not been at these prices since April. Okay, so that's the one I'm really looking at with the small crappers. In terms of love, obviously it's an airline stock, and I didn't really follow that news today. What happened this morning? They had some bad news or something?
So basically all week long they had record cancellations. This came out a couple of days ago. They broke 35. It was a great short on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yesterday was bad. I was 2 for 3 because yesterday it lost. But today I just said one thing. If you get back to the highs, short 33.80 to 34, I'm still in that trade because quite frankly, I'll go to the 3-minute here. Maybe that'll be easier if you get. So once it got up there, couldn't take 34. I took some out at the bottom of the channel, 33.60 that I should have given to 50.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Randy. Randy's taken off for the new year. But once it broke VWAP, I felt convinced we were going to see the lows and was going to get out at 33. I probably got greedy because that recent flush got us to 33.20, and I might just say to myself, hey, let's just get out if it reclaims those morning lows. Because it's up today, it was up yesterday, maybe we don't get that home run flush. But the other thing I said this morning that I believe to be true is since that news dropped and the CEO came out basically saying this is going to hit them in the next quarter, these cancellations, we don't know how much, but it's going to hit them. I don't see this trading above 35 unless the sector makes a run. So unless you see Jets or AL, Delta, all the other names, unless you see a bounce in those stocks that has them breaking out of their channels, dragging Southwest with it, I feel like short in front of 35 is going to be a bit of a play, at least in the short term. So that's the way I want to stick with this one, and going into next year, we'll see what happens. I'm in it, but I want to give it maybe 10 more cents, and then I'll take out I'll just get it out.
Hey, Neil, how do you become a millionaire? Be a billionaire and start an airline.
I think I've heard that one.
Yeah, I mean,
it is a good one.
It's hard for me to get excited about this sector right now. The price of fuel is only going up. You always have COVID looming in the background. There's a lot of players in this space. I think a lot of the consolidation in the industry has already happened. It's very, very hard for me to get excited about the airlines right now. But I mean, compared to some of these other stocks that are down even more on the year, yeah. At this point, if you've taken a 50% loss in a stock on the year, is that a good stock? I don't know, but in terms of
you don't like Meta?
Meta, I don't know about Meta.
That's 60.
Meta is intriguing at this point. I mean, at some point you have to get the wallet out and buy some of these dips, I guess. I mean, probably the most systematic way to do that would be to wait for them to finish with the rate hikes. So I'm not really looking to get into anything yet. Meta is something that, yeah, you could definitely look at that. definitely Apple. But is it really time to get into the market right now? I'm leery. I'm sure most people are. You can jump into a bond for 5%. That's risk-free. You know, there's some real competition for your dollars right now with fixed income. It's not very sexy. However, you know, it all looks the same in my bank account.
Gains are always sexy, Greg.
Gains are always sexy. Except for, you know, these ones. But yeah, financial gains are always sexy.
Well, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So is love oversold? I would say maybe, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm ready to jump in. The airline industry, I'm also leery about that. But yeah, I mean, it's the end of the year, so we need to go have a look. What are we going to be buying for next year? What's going to be the hot sector next year? Be curious to hear what the viewers think. What are the viewers' ideas for hot industries next year?
Oh.
All right, guys, Chinese ADRs next on the list. Yeah, they fared poorly as of late, but today at the bell, they found a bit of a bounce. This column here is changed since open. This was decidedly green for a lot of these ones. It's since been a bit mixed. Let's have a look at what I'm talking about here. Look at this move up right at the bell and right before the bell, and then since then they've sold out quite aggressively. That's Futu down 32.25% on the day. The same move holds true for Baba though. Look at that big move up and then consolidation selling all day. Is there a play, guys, on these Chinese ADRs? I know there's a lot of volatility.
They're bouncing now. So I think I was just showing the reversal in Liado, and I'll go to, there's two things. I didn't reverse PDD, but I learned a very valid lesson on Pinduoduo. And I said this to the guys in the morning show, everyone that watched the morning show. If you watched 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was talking about shorting 88 level on Pinduoduo. This is it going to 88. It promptly flushed all the way back at the end of the day to 85. I was negative on Pinduoduo that day, and I made the top wick. The next day, I was talking about an 83.60 flat bottom breakdown. I missed the fill because that's what happens sometimes. And then the following day, I'm like, if it's beneath 83.60, it's a short. I shorted it and was down on Pinduoduo the next day. So what I told myself coming in today was, well, if you're getting the levels right and then you just keep losing, then maybe you should only enter a position after it's stopping people out. Because at least that way, even if I'm late, I'll just know that I have the move and be right about it in the short term. So this time, instead of looking to get the top on Pinduoduo, I actually waited for it to break down and then just played it off of the breakdown, 81.60. So I was shorted 50s into 81, 50s into 81.15. And then when it broke that channel down, I shorted 81.20s into the low. I reloaded it. And here's the problem. The reason I got out here was we had that flush in the overall market. Everything was going to the downside, and all the Chinese ADRs did nothing. So I said, okay, let's just get the heck out of this, because this is what was, the market just tanked. Everything tanked in that 15 minutes, and these didn't go anywhere. So I felt like they were kind of strong. I got out of it, reloaded my long on Liado, which was the other reversal of today, and then continued to ride that one to the upside. Now Lee, they deliver, they haven't given their delivery numbers, but they forecast 20,000 deliveries on the month, which is higher than the 14,000 they had December last year. They were the strongest of these names. NEO was weak. It's been bouncing off the 50 period. You had that catalyst as well. I like the short off 20 because it rejected it early, put in a higher wick, but once it cleared that resistance, it was a jailbreak long to where? Well, if this is 20, and this is the high the day after, the move got to 2050. So it got to 2050. It's been a reload ever since. It's stalling here in front of 50 again. And as I'm saying this, I'm going to get some out on the way back down right now. It doesn't seem like it wants to break 50, so I'll take some profit and ring the register. And if it breaks tops, I think we could see 75 or 21 even. So you can use a key price area to go long, to go short. Just know that it's a decision point and you want to make a decision.
This is reaching back quite a ways, but I think if you want to talk about the Chinese ADR general, you need to talk about the DD IPO, okay? The DD IPO happened June 30th, 2021, okay? What happened 2 days later? DD was delisted from the Chinese apps, okay? So 2 days after it IPO'd on the NYSE, 2 days later, you could not even access it on your phone in China, okay? So that was a big middle finger to US capital markets. And since that event, Chinese ADRs have gone straight down, okay? That was the top. So when you're looking at these ADRs, certainly as an investor, there's a lot of policy risk that you're facing. You know, one headline and you could have your holdings, you know, wiped out 10, 20%. You look at a stock like BABA, like I got hurt in that one. So there's a lot of risk inherent in these things. When you look at these Chinese ADRs, do they have more upside than other stocks, which are also badly beaten down this year? I don't know, but certainly the downside with the policy risk is kind of nasty. So I'm not really looking at any of them right now. Could be some good trades there though on the short side in the short term.
All right, we got Greg here, so we can't let him go without talking a little crypto. No recent headline to speak of, except this morning, the Bahamian regulator saying that it seized up to $3.5 billion of the FTX crypto assets for safekeeping, and it's going to wait for direction from its Supreme Court on how to distribute those assets. So I want to get Greg's take, obviously, on the FTX saga. Quickly, though, Solana. This headline coming up here, interesting, $50 billion in valuation wiped off the currency in this year, 2022. You'll recall Solana was billed as a faster, more efficient Ethereum, but investors have looked at it otherwise. Guys, Greg, give us some crypto knowledge.
All right, so first things first, I don't think the viewers are going to like what I have to say, but I just want to say before I get tarred and feathered over here that crypto is my biggest investment. I have more in crypto than I do in the stock market. Been in since 2017, love crypto, big fan.
I know that.
The problem that crypto is supposed to solve is centralization, right? But what's happening is the opposite. You know, you're getting these, back when I was learning how to drive, whenever there'd be a crazy driver on the road, my Portuguese driving instructor would refer to him as a midnight call boy. So I'm going to refer to these crypto guys as midnight call boys. You know, they're getting too much crypto in their account. They're getting too much power. I mean, look at Canada, okay? In Canada, some of you guys might not know this, but we had Quadriga CX. I told my dad to send money there. I told my girlfriend to send money there. They lost all their money. I got out on the last plane out of Saigon. That's a whole other story. Anyways, you have these exchanges going down, and it's just the problem of too much power concentrated in the hands of people who obviously either are very stupid, don't care, or both. I don't think SBF is stupid. I just think he really doesn't care. So I don't know. What is the way forward? Is it decentralized exchanges? Is it decentralized mining? I'm not exactly sure. But as far as I'm concerned, right now you have Bitcoin and you have Ethereum, and then you have everything else. One of these other platforms that comes along, if they're offering greater efficiency, it's usually because of greater centralization. So I do not know if crypto has the asymmetric returns right now going into 2023 that had into the past, okay? Once you achieve a certain size, okay, all the Bitcoin in the world, all the crypto in the world is worth, I think, around 500 billion right now. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Once you get to a certain size, people start to care, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and borrow Neil's tinfoil hat, which he uses all the time, and say that, you know, there is going to be a cap on how much money you are allowed to make before the authorities and the regulators step in, because Bitcoin can't go to $1 million a coin right now, because then the SBFs of the world start getting rich, the wrong people start getting rich. That upsets the whole system. Okay, there is a limit to how big these things can get before they get the big Dikembe SWAT. Okay, and I think that's what we're worried about in crypto right now. That being said, still bullish, still invested, and I love crypto, but we'll see what happens next year.
I tried having this conversation with my barber, and I should have just, next time I get a haircut, I should just go with you, because I feel like you say it a little more eloquently than myself. I don't always go tinfoil hat. Maybe I should more often, because I can't disagree with anything that you're saying there. And the only thing that you didn't mention that I would add to it is there's also a problem of leverage, and I think, you know, you sort of talk about what's gone on in the crypto world, and from what it's supposed to be, leverage ruins a lot of what the dream was supposed to be, or the vision was going to be, because it just turns it into the same old type of game that Wall Street has been doing over and over again. And then once that happens, you get the same types of outcomes, and that's really the place that we're at. Maybe in the long run, this ends up being a good thing in unwinding some of the nonsense, and then you can get some real use cases out of it. But when the dot-com bubble burst, there were so many internet companies that you never heard of again, and then eventually a small few made it. Well, there's probably even more tokens out there that are probably going to end up being failures. I want to say that it's an order of magnitude higher at this particular point. And like you said, right now you're probably confident about one or two winners, if there are going to be one or two winners. I think we're done the rundown, and I feel like it was pretty epic here. All I got to say is this. It's a good thing Greg didn't get on the midday show, because I feel like he could have pumped the likes count up to 5K, and then I'd be eating that Packy chip based on everything that he's dropping right now.
Yeah, just out here having fun. Unfortunately, I did let Luca talk me into this Cala trade.
Yeah, look out.
But the good thing about that is I now have someone to blame when it goes sour for me. So, Luca, I do not appreciate your call here at the moment, although, you know, it hasn't even hit VWAP yet. But, you know, some people are like, oh, I don't like taking other people's trades. I prefer other people's trades to my own, because then I can point fingers. So that just makes my life easier. And yeah, so still feel pretty comfortable in this one.
I got a line for you. If that's the way that you feel that you want to take positions, which, by the way, we're being tongue-in-cheek here, if you guys can't tell. But if you want to take other people's positions so that you can blame that person, then here's the line I want you to remember. Just say this when you want to blame somebody. I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in the world happen to you and you and nobody else. And that's, I love Dave Chappelle, guys. So if you know, that's one of my favorite lines. Be a player hater. But let's be serious about Cala for a second, because the trades that have been not the most successful, but that have been the best structured. And I should have this. I admit this. I should have had this break. When it does these long consolidations and then does a clean break, like right here, like look at this move, 32. It makes a tight dollar range, bouncing off that 30. That's why I should have it, because I said 30 this morning. And then gives you that consolidation break. That's a move. Then you get another one, a retracement, consolidation, then a break. That break not as clean because it didn't go flat as long. Then you get the same one here at 36. I know that's what Luca was looking at. Well, it was just doing that now, but it never made that break. So it was looking like it was going to give you that same consolidation to break you out at 41 or maybe at 42. So that's what I'll be looking for on Cala. That's what I'll be looking for. Like an ATNF is a little bit different because as you might have said there, Greg, this stock has already been here just recently. If this goes parabolic again and halts a couple of times, I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to say that I want to be short this. I should check to see if I have to pay for shorts, because if we go crazy, there's going to be some shorting opportunities up there because it's a different story. That said, it could still give you a consolidation higher and a flat top break at a $4 if it gives a move like that. I tend to prefer taking the consolidation, having the tighter stop, then when it runs the high, you're already in position. Sometimes a trickier trade, but I like the risk to reward if it gives you a clean enough entry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you just said. I mean, the one thing you're worried about with these parabolic moves is bag holders coming in and selling it. That would be my concern on ATNF. That is less of a concern on Cala because this hasn't been at these prices in a long time. So I totally agree with everything you just said. And I'm pretty much just chilling in these positions right now. The thing about me, Neil, is that I prefer the easy money. I love the easy money. The easier it is to get, the more I want it. So, you know, I'm really trying to put my chips in at the best time. Okay, so I want to put my money in when there's the greatest chance of things going my way. And, you know, end of the year, last trading day of the year, I'm happy to kind of just coast, but going to be hitting it hard next year. Daddy needs a new everything. So that's the plan, and right now, try to make some money on Cala.
Someone was saying, change Greg's screen? Oh, because it's a black chart? What's wrong with the black charts? We like the black charts. Some people like the black charts. We use the white charts in there. I just saw someone say change the screen. It might have just been because they didn't want you to switch. But
someone wants me to dish about traders on the floor. What can I say about traders on the floor here? Well, first of all, Shawn and Neil, they're the guys who basically showed me how to do everything. You know, Neil was a lot more serious a few years ago than he is now.
What are you
talking
about?
Believe it or not, Neil's a teddy bear now, really nice guy. You know, everyone gets along well with him. A few years ago, that was completely different.
That's not true. I've always been
He was up on the bridge like this. He was very intimidating. You go over to him, he's nice, but he would chew your head off. You know, one time he kicked me off the floor just for looking at him the wrong way. So yeah, that was a different world back then when Neil was.
See, the problem is they might actually believe what you're saying right now, Greg. I've never kicked. Okay, wait a minute. That's.
Neil will kick you off the floor just for looking at him cockeyed.
No,
okay?
I would not.
So you gotta be careful the way that you look at him.
No, I would not. That's ridiculous. Come on, man.
Yeah, Shawn. You know, Shawn famously is the guy who interviewed me, and when I came in, he had a piece of paper in front of him. At the end of the interview, he picked it up and just showed me that there was nothing on it. So I guess that was a little ruse he did to try to intimidate me.
Did it work?
The stories we could tell about Pratt are we probably don't have enough time until 4 o'clock.
We've told that story.
I'm sure that these guys probably want to see some trades. You know, Luca is just, everything's always going great with him. You gotta love it, gotta love the attitude. Yeah, it's a great team here on the floor, and you know, shout out to you guys for doing it all year. I don't know how you keep the energy up and everything. It's amazing what you guys do. I hope the viewers appreciate it, and you know, hopefully we can all just make each other better and continue with the momentum that we've gained.
We don't buy that nice guy routine. Oh goodness. Neil has chewed me, not Paul, someone in the chat, Neil has chewed me out for taking profits. I have? Oh, come on, man. So in truth, the job is being a risk manager. Mm-hmm. So there are times where you're gonna have a conversation with a trader, and it's just better to be honest more than anything else. But at the same time, I like to think I'm not that serious or that mean about it. Come on, man.
No, dude, you're good now. You've changed a lot.
You can, so
guys, it's all entertainment.
We all love
it's
all good fun. We all love each other. We dish on. Well, so by the way, I want to say this because you said dish on people on the floor.
Yeah.
So Luca took a trade. Where is Luca? I guess he's gone to the gym or something. But Luca took a trade in the SPY, and I was standing right here, and I'd gotten up to go to the bathroom. I was coming right back. By the way, I'm going to buy Meta on VWAP here. I'm bidding 118.70 or so to reload my trade. I'm just a bit of an update. We're sideways, so I want to scalp this if I can. But Lucas said he was going long the SPY, and I turn over and I look at one of our futures traders. I'm not going to say their name unless they don't care. Okay, I turn and look at Steph in the corner, and she's trading futures. You can't see because move your head back, Greg, or forward. You can kind of see Steph in the corner there. She's raising her hand, and I'm looking, and Luke is describing the entry, and Steph trades the futures. And she's got this look on her face like, ugh, like, whoa. And I'm kind of looking at him like, really? So I go over there and we're sort of chatting about it. It turned into a really good conversation about risk to reward. But it just goes to show, one of the cool things about a trading floor is right or wrong. Luke is a scalper. Steph's gonna hold for bigger moves like Arun might be. So it's very different styles. So what you get is you get the ability to talk to traders who do not think the same way that you do. That is one of the best things that you can have going for you when you're trying to learn. It's not just a bunch of people who agree with you. That's a complete waste of time, trust me.
And also you get a lot of strange people attracted to this business, so it's always very interesting to meet those people. They're people who not only don't think like you do, they don't think like anyone does. So it's very exciting to keep those people on the floor, and we keep a few of those people, you know, Luca, Pratt, around just to keep things more interesting. And you know, if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, it helps to talk to a guy like that just to make you feel a little more relaxed, you know. So always got to keep some oddballs around. But no, we're all lucky to be in this business. We're all lucky to be trading. And
I hope you guys don't mind. It's the last day of the year. If things move, I'll let you guys know. But there's a story. You said strange traders out there. There's a story I have to tell because when I was on the bridge risk managing, there was a single trader who I know this because when I started trading in my journey, I'd go home and play online poker and I'd come back and trade. Like I was really into poker at the time. And so we had a trader that was the same thing. And he started out and he'd come in every single morning, he'd pass the bridge, and we have like a whiteboard that's next to the bridge, and he'd walk up to me and then he'd just start recounting, I was in this situation, this is the hand I had, this was the odds, and we'd start talking through the hands on a daily basis. And I'm like, I like poker, so we discuss strategy and then for like 5-10 minutes every single day. So I'm thinking this guy, okay, he's a good poker player, he knows what he's doing, he understands the thoughts. We have poker night at the office, so I won't say his name, but then of course I'm like, yeah, well, let's get this guy to come and play. And I know he knows what he's talking about. So we have dealer picks the game or do whatever, and you sort of, we don't have a dealer here, so everybody gets a turn dealing. When it comes his turn to deal, I'm not making this crap up, right? He picks up the deck and he stands up and he puts down one card, and then he walks to the next person and he puts down another card, and then he walks all the way around the table dealing it out. Like he had never sat down at a live, like the guy's played hours and hours of poker and knows everything, and it's just like all the way around, like he didn't know what was going on. It was the most bizarre thing ever. Like, trust me, losing to someone like that sucks because like, this guy doesn't know how to deal. Yet, there you go. He's the man. Anyway, so you do see a lot of interesting people on the floor. Now Meta's breaking higher at 119, so I guess I'm not going to get VWAP here. Sharif?
Hey guys, just getting news here that Putin is amending his decree on Russian gas payments in rubles and the energy, even though this is U.S. oil, energy markets bouncing on that news here decidedly. A nice move up here on WTI, breaking through 80.
Big move. So two things are happening right now. Obviously, with crude moving, I looked over at XOM. That's not going anywhere, but that not to go about Cal all the time, but Cal is right back at VWAP and that 36 level. So I want to be all over this. If it can hold 36, enter 3 times. If it can hold this and start going sideways, this was the place that it broke out last time. And I wouldn't write it off because sometimes you get a channel and you get the same level breaking. If it can't hold here, you could have a real breakdown in the stock. This is decision zone. So I want to see it go sideways off here. If it can start bouncing, I almost want to take a shot long that consolidation. If it goes sideways in the next 5 minutes, I have a 3-minute chart up, so I want to see at least 5 minutes of action holding this level and then a sideways play. Look for the long, give it to the low of the day. Otherwise, I have to start actually thinking about some kind of a short there. But yeah, WTI on the move. I also noticed that my meta was moving up. I am in meta. I was looking for a reload. That's why I didn't get any. And then Li Auto hit enter twice, Neil. I always have to, I type in the stock and I have to hit enter twice before it flips to it. It's weird. We're getting a lower high on Li Auto. And if I was flat and saw double top at 2050, knowing what I know, I'd be thinking about shorting this into VWAP. So my gut's telling me I should just be getting out of this trade. It ends up being pretty successful, both directions off the $20 level, but I don't want to give this back into VWAP in what looks like a relatively weak market. So I'm just going to slap a trail on it around here, this 2025 or so, just to lock in profit. And then that way, if it gets back, so I'll just do my trail in there, just beneath here, and then I'll throw an offer at the high of the day, just to make sure I'm managing this trade, as we're probably sitting here somewhat range bound. I mean, these futures, if I can come to, I'll just do my 15-minute chart up. I was going to go over to my 60-minute, but maybe the 15-minute will tell a better story. So ever since we broke down on that repo news, you bounced off the low, and then you're holding this channel here back and forth off a 10-9. It doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room to do anything but scalp trade inside the range unless we break away from here. So I do feel like scalping, I'm going to get some meta long if I can. I'm going back over to Apple, see if I can ring that register. I got stopped out here. That was too tight of a stop at 128. Every now and then you actually, I got to get rid of this wick. You put your stop like 2 cents below, and you should have put it 5 cents below because Apple bounced right back into VWAP, so 128 is still valid. It just means that I have to give it 5 to 10 cents off that level and not 3 or 4. Bless you, Sharif.
Well, Neil, I'm sure these people on the chat want to see a real trader, so I think Ian's probably going to be coming on soon unless we're going to crack a Molson Canadian, but otherwise I'll probably...
Do we have any?
Oh, we got some Molson Canadian. All right, I'll be back.
You guys don't mind. You guys don't mind. I just saw in the chat, someone's like, first of all, give it up for Greg, by the way. Because obviously, like, Shawn is off today, and my chart just crashed. Shawn is off today. Arun couldn't be in today. He's off as well. Brendan's not here. So, you know, we had everybody sort of come all hands on deck in this moment as I try to get my chart back. And that's what we love to see. Now, you've probably seen Greg from time to time. He's been on the midday show every now and then. But so this is the first time I've actually sat at the desk with Greg, believe it or not. We were thinking about having fun. We do have beer. He wasn't actually lying. You weren't lying about that. I feel like I should wait till Power Hour. Are you already having one? So here's my first suggestion is A, don't necessarily drink and trade. One's not going to hurt you, but it's New Year's. We always try to have a little bit of fun when it comes to New Year's or when we have like a big holiday event, and that's what it's all about. Relatively speaking, most traders will be a little bit lighter at this time. Like I would never put on the same kind of size that I would in the morning or in any of these types of plays. It's just this is the time of day. I still believe that whether you trade min size or max size, you should treat every decision the same. There's a reason why a good poker player makes the same decisions at a 2.5 that they would when it's $100 blinds. You just have to build that mentality because that's when it'll lead to success. But there are times when volumes might be a little bit lower. It's not the time to go all in. Most of the time that is around here. I think that's what we want to be doing. Always make good decisions. Always try to analyze to the best of your abilities. I'm going to wait till everybody has one before I crack it because that's just proper etiquette. The other day I broke the etiquette with the coffee machine. I owned up to it. I didn't refill the water tank when it emptied. I got my coffee, and I was like, I'm on air, man. I don't have time. We just gone live. And but this one we adhere to. Not everyone has one as far as I'm concerned, so I'm not cracking it yet. But I did just get stopped out of Liado. It was a positive trade, but this is a story about you've got to be able to reverse when it shows you it's going from, it was already a long. It was good news. It was a breakout. I liked the short at 20, but it was trending up. You had to give it up, and I had to reverse. That's an upward trend. I accepted it, and now we just got it trailed out. I do believe there's going to be some trades in a couple of these big cap names here. I was just asked about Tesla, and the question was, I thought the question was, do we go back to the low? Well, it's not feeling like, unless something crazy happens in the market, Tesla broke out pretty clean 120 to 121 and has just been barcoding off of that same area, like 120.50 to 121. It's been hard resistance. Look at how good short. Take out the top. Man, I made top wick on this one today too. Thankfully, I got VWAP first, so I end up being flat on the stock. But man, sometimes you make that top wick and it's ugly. But I don't think Tesla necessarily is going to have the juice to get down to market lows. That's simply because the market is not going crazy right now. And by the way, like Greg was in Kala. It's just that in order to display positions, like basically there's an API that reads our blotters, and then I said this in the morning, and then throws it on like our position board on the production side. But excuse me. But the trader actually has to be in the system. So Greg kind of came in out of nowhere, and then he's not in that system. Kala did bounce off 36 though. So as it's bouncing off 36, this is what I was looking for. Hold the 36 level. I understand it's trending down, but I feel like the upside would be try to catch consolidation long, and then you can get $2 or $3 here. So I'm looking for something around this 36, maybe one more dip. If it breaks down, either a dip consolidation into 36, or if it holds long enough, like a flat top break. It hasn't held long enough, and of course now it wants to go, I'm not chasing it. I feel like I was told to go to Sharif. Was I? I was not? Are you getting one, Sharif? You have one? Does everybody have one?
Ian have one?
Ian's got one.
I have one, yeah.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, so I'll do the honors here. And obviously, we got over an hour to go, but this is us having a little fun. That's one of the best sounds you'll ever hear. It's not New Year's Eve, but enjoy. Happy New Year's to everybody. Have a cold one.
It's a pregame.
It's a pregame. Yeah. We do not, look, obviously, all the caveats aside, with being responsible and drinking responsibly and all that. That goes like 10 times over. But hey, you got to have a little bit of fun. It's not New Year's yet, but it's the last trading day of the year, so we're gonna have some fun with it. This is like, if you don't know, this is like a Molson Canadian, which is obviously a Canadian beer. So it's a bit of a classic. I don't know, like what would you call the equivalent? Like a Bud.
Isn't Budweiser Canadian too, though? Isn't Budweiser made in Canada? But
No.
I guess it's American beer.
So-
Okay, no, never mind. I guess I was wrong.
If you're ever wondering why a Canadian might think Bud is made is Canadian, if you watch so I go to the Jays games all the time. Like Budweiser is plastered all over
That's
the
right,
Toronto Blue
yeah.
Jays Stadium. It is the beer sponsor. It's not even like Molson Canadian or Labatt Blue or something like that. It is actually Budweiser all over the Toronto Blue Jays Stadium, which I think is a little bit weird. But hey, man, when you're charging $12 a beer, I guess everyone's going to want to have that. I'm getting some questions about CPNG. I see people putting in some like names in the
Bush,
chat.
yeah, I guess that would be one, right?
Is Bush a better example?
Yeah. Labatt's Blue, okay. I guess just domestic beers in general, right? Like these are just
Okay.
domestic beers, yeah.
But so
Molson, yeah.
we get random questions about stocks, and it's like, okay, I'm going to ask Sharif what's going on over here, because I don't know if they're CPNG. Because I haven't looked at Coupang. I can't remember the last time I called up the stock. I'll be dead honest with you. So what? Yeah. So I don't know precisely if there's any news with today. He's saying there isn't. However, you are flat bottom breaking on the daily chart, right? So you got this 15 that's flat bottom breaking down. I don't know why that one is on New York, and when I hit enter, this one is CPNG. It's Coupang. I'm just double checking with Sharif. That's why you hear me. He can hear me. You guys can't hear him. So you flat bottom broke 15. This is very similar to the love chart, right? Like you flat bottom break, you trend down, you hold resistance beneath it. And so when you have a recovery day like this, I would treat it like I treated love. I think usually it's a short till you get to that flat bottom, which is 15 resistance, and then it's got room to get to that price, and then that's where the decision's going to be. If it fails that price, a lot of times you'll just channel and then trend to the downside. So without knowing the news, I wouldn't be touching it here. Like if I was long off the bottom, it probably has room to get a little closer to 15 even, if not like 1480 or something. And then I think there's going to be a lot of sellers at that price that maybe have been getting out the last couple of days. Because what this tells you is when it breaks, when it gets close to that 15, everyone's like, oh, this is my chance to sell some shares. So it just holds that price. And there's not enough buyers up there with the confidence to pick it up when it's been doing this. And if you look at it from a swing perspective, broke this 50 period, broke the 200, headed lower, broke recent support. Next level down is 14 bucks. It bounced off that temporarily, but if it doesn't reclaim that low, what's more likely in this kind of a market environment, unless we rally early in the year, break 14 and head lower. So that's the way I would look at it without having to know the news there. But again, that's just looking at the technicals on it. Like I really don't know what caused it to gap that 15 in the first place.
How's it going, guys? I'm back to finish what I started today. It's been an exciting day. I'm basically flat on the day. I've actually been kind of busy here on Tesla in the afternoon. I've been trying to go long off this 121. Basically had some lunch, and this I want to talk about this because we kind of touched on in the morning as well. This is like kind of the benefit of being a trader, right? Like have lunch. I went for a walk, ran some errands, and came back and started trading again, right? It just gives you that flexibility. I think that's why you always kind of need that time away from the desk just to kind of recoup and you know come back with a fresh mind. Anyways, I've been trying to go long off this 121. I tried it a bunch of times, and I was probably over trading it at this point. But what I was trying to do essentially was go long off of reserves that I was spotting around this 121. It just seemed like there was buyers just stepping up around 121, 120.90 area. Every time it dipped there would just be some buying there. And then all these reserves on the bid, right? So I was just trying to catch the long. LFT'd a bunch, and then eventually just caught the long here off of the 121. A quick scalp out for a 30-cent win. That was great. There's some size there actually on 31. That was interesting. And then, you know, obviously now I'm trying to hold and build like more of like, I guess, a swing position into power hour here off of this 121 base. I'm like 20 cents in the money. Obviously, that's not that much on Tesla here. I'm trying to basically cover some at these peaks here around this 121.60 area. That would be nice. And then I am also offering a stink offer there close to 122. But I was just trying to spot something that's, you know, kind of making a base and then holding a tighter range. So that's Tesla here. I was also looking at Apple, but I think that one might have gotten away from me a bit. I was waiting for this 128 to come back into picture for a potential long support play here. Bounced off twice here and now making a higher low. But that one's up at 128.30. I'm not going to chase that one. Similar play to, I think, Neil's in Meta as well. So similar to that. People were asking in the chat, did Luca cover Kala? I believe he did.
I'm not sure, but I think I just chased it and got. So anyways, I was telling you guys after it made that channel, I would try to go long off of VWAP if it came back down to 36. But I was trying to get 36.30, and then I was trying to get 36.50, and the spread was a little bit big. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll step up one more time. And then the second I got the fill, which ended up being at 74. I thought it was 75, but I guess it was 74. It gave me the fill and came right back into 36 here. So it's about a 30-cent spread. I'd be a little bit cautious with it. I don't think I want it breaking 36 by much before I got out. But instead of playing the breakout from the consolidation, I just want to see if I can do what happened yesterday, which is get a more of a tight stop, scalp it into the range, and then if it breaks out the top, hold on to what you have. So we'll see what happens with this. I feel like I'm not really risking that much, which sometimes in a trade like this means you don't stand to do as well if you're not willing to risk a little bit more. But at this time of day, with the spread that I'm seeing and the liquidity as it is, I feel like I'd rather not take a big hit on it. Just to kind of my approach. From what I understand, like I don't know what Luca had said that when he had that break, he was going to give it some room. So whether he actually took some out for a $5 win, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it didn't actually hit a stop. based on what he was saying. Because I think he had said he wanted to give it to 34, but I was just sort of casually listening while I'm eating lunch and doing my thing.
Yeah, I think he might have covered. I'm not too sure. You're gonna have to talk to him a bit after there. Someone's asking if we could take a look at the SPY. I know we always talk about the ES a lot. I think Luca was in a SPY trade. You're already kind of talking about that one a bit earlier there. But hey, I mean, try new things. I guess, you know, size down and whatnot. I'm looking at the SPY here. It is making a bounce off of 375-ish here, but making that base, right? So obviously, I don't know the direct translation to ES prices, but on the ES, I'm looking at that 3,800. I think that's a pretty key level for support there on the ES. So I'm assuming that's going to be around this same support area on the SPY here. But man, like it's just been trading a channel the past few days, past few weeks, right? So got to keep that in mind if you are looking like swing trades and whatnot. I don't think we really day trade the SPY too much. One, because it takes part in our like equities. So when we're trading, right, we have different shutdowns for different I guess markets, and the SPY is included in equities, which would obviously include like Tesla and all the stocks that you see us trade here on the show. And then we also have a separate shutdown for futures, right? So a lot of the time, if we do trade, you know, just market moves, or I want to trade specifically the market, you'll see us in like futures positions and whatnot. I know Prad takes some futures positions, me not so much. But yeah, you won't see us trading the SPY that much. I guess that's why we're all kind of having a little bit of a chuckle when Luca was in it.
You know, when we do, usually when we do, it's more economic number or something along those lines. But I think Sharif has something for us, bud.
Yeah, guys, nothing market moving or anything, but it's the last day of the year, so let's talk about where we were and now where we are. Let's have a look at my this graphic here. Apple at the beginning of this year was worth $2.9 trillion market cap. Now, have a look. Where are we with Apple? 2.039, losing basically 900. Yeah, so that's a big one. Microsoft as well, 2.5. Where are we at now? 1.7, so that's a big drop. Here's what stood out to me, guys. Saudi Aramco. This it started off the year 1.9, and now it is 1.88. Barely any movement whatsoever, while we've seen American big tech really take it on the chin. Amazon as well, not being spared. Amazon 1.7 at the beginning of the year, and now 844 billion. So interesting to see where we were at the beginning of 22 and where we're finishing off the year. Where will we be at the end of 2023, guys?
Well, if the Busta Rhymes song has anything to say about it, then I feel like that number 2 could become number 1. Just throwing that out there. Hopefully, you guys know what I'm talking about. I won't say it because, you know, I don't want to get us canceled or anything. It's a song title. I probably shouldn't, but, you know, people might not like it. I got stopped out of call. I said I was going to have a tight stop, and then you get stopped out when you have a tight stop. This will happen to you. It's still bouncing here, and maybe I should just wait for it to go, like, do a better consolidation and take a breakout. Maybe that's just going to be the way it is on Kala. I never got Apple, which is a little frustrating here. It entered twice, Neil. So here's what's going on. If it comes to my chart, here's what's going on with Apple. That 128 where I stopped out of that long. It was a good long, but probably too tight of a stop. Now it's holding 128.10. Pretty random price, but if this is the channel it wants to be in, I'm like, okay, I'm your Huckleberry. We'll just play this range. I know this game. I'll try to sit here, try to pick up some teens. If I can get them, maybe there's a bit of a scalp trade in for me. So I'm just going to sit on the bid. This is where I got it before anyways, and play it into VWAP. Now, the other side of this trade would be to be shorting off of those highs. I understand that that's not a bad way to be playing it. I'm looking over at Amazon. Hopefully my chart isn't too skewed here. I'm looking at Amazon. No, maybe I don't like Amazon for that. It might be Microsoft. I thought maybe Amazon would give you a better opportunity to short up there, but I guess it's not really close to VWAP. Only because it's close enough to that 83 that I felt you had an even dollar for some cover if you could have got 82.90s. But this is too weak. It's not giving you the top end of the channel right now. So I have to put that one in the back pocket. If there's a pop in Amazon, I do like the short if we can actually catch it. I know some of you guys are talking about Mullen. I'll bite. I bit yesterday, and it really wasn't that bad. We got 25 into 26. Got some out 26 half. At least I thought it was yesterday, not 2 days ago. Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh, so you are breaking out. Yeah, good call. Mullen's breaking out here. I don't really mind holds a higher low, struggling at, yeah, it always sort of struggles at that 30 level. I kind of feel, sorry, I'm just sort of thinking out loud in my head here. I kind of feel like it probably has to get back in 28.5 and then start scalping it. Now that it's breaking and it's kind of in the middle of no man's land, that's kind of usually a trap long. Like you can get involved up here and try to play it to 30, but your risk to reward stinks. So it's almost better to let it get to 30, either thinking about shorting it at the top or sort of catching it before it bounces off 28 even, which will be the way I want to play it. So I don't mind scalping this. I might double check to see what the pay for shorts are, because if they're too expensive, it's 3 o'clock, it's power hour on the last trading day of the year. I'm not really that jazzed to pay for shorts at this time of day because you might not want to use them. And then it's a sunk cost. So at Day Trade the World, we're a prop trading floor. If we pay for locates, then that is a fixed cost. Whether you actually short the stock or not, you still pay for the amount of shares that you decided you want to have available to you. That's why at this time of day, if I paid for it earlier, fine, but if I haven't paid for it now, I'm really just going to look for the long in Mullen if I can get it.
I see people going off in the chat here about Tesla. Man, Tesla's for me, well, and Neil also started off like kind of rough.
You're long, right?
I am long, yeah. I'm long 121.
Why don't we see Ian's positions, guys?
It doesn't show up on the position board, guys. I'm long at 121.22 on Tesla right now. I was talking about that one there. But yeah, now getting the pop into the 70s and into the 80s. I've just been slowly covering my position. I told you guys I wanted to cover some at this top here around 121.60. But now it just continues to work for me. I know that like later in the day, obviously there's going to be less volatility, less volume. The day is just kind of winding down now. So I'm taking this 50, 60 cent win here on Tesla. It's been a good trade. It started off as a bad name for me, and now it's my best name on the board. So that's going to be a positive. I'm seeing a couple people talk about Oxy as well. So I want to bring this up. It is kind of testing the high of the day as well. Let's see here. Let me zoom out actually. Okay, there we go. Excuse that wick. Yeah, so it is kind of testing this high of the day. It looks like the high of the day is like 62.76 area. Okay, yeah, 62.76. I want to zoom out to the 10-minute here and just kind of look at what it's been doing this week. So it looks like it's been, I guess this is kind of like the middle of the range. So it's tough to get involved here. I don't know about taking this breakout, for the rest of the day. I think I'm probably just going to try and nurse the rest of this Tesla position and see if anything kind of comes in on the close. Yeah, I don't mind this breakout here on Oxy, but realistically, like, where is this going to go? It's only done 5.9 million volume on the day. The later on, as you get into the day and obviously into power hour, you got to be really picky and choosy with where you kind of put your buying power, right? I've been trying to kind of focus on something in power hour, like try to look for like 1 or 2 trades specifically that I really, really liked and try to execute on those ones. But if the trade is not there, or if the market's having more of an inside day, then you might want to just lay off or kind of nurse the positions that you already have, kind of like what you see us doing already. There is decent size on Tesla there. I just want to bring that up and show you guys. I know I'm talking about this a lot, but it's been kind of like my main name of the day. But there's about 700 lots there at 122. That's probably going to get taken out. Let's send it to Sharif real quick. I think he has an update.
Ever since we let you know about that headline coming out of Russia with respect to settling in rubles, oil has really moved. WTI now at high of days and positive on the day, almost positive on the day, guys. We are 0.06 positive now. That 80, I think that 80.50 is a level. Are we seeing any move in equities yet?
Oh, equities are moving. Like Meta went from me trying to get VWAP and trying to get 118.80. First VWAP, then trying to get 118.80. Now we're at the high of the day. I'm trying to decide whether I want to take this out at the high like before or just sort of let it ride. I don't want to trail this, man. It feels like if we get back to the upside, we've got some room to resistance on the ES and the NASDAQ. So if we're already at the highs on Meta and the market still has a little bit of a ways to go before it gets to resistance, that's a bit of a strong one. So I might be thinking about places that I can fade this move. Stop me, but unfortunately, like the first thing I always do is like look for something that was relatively weak and then say, okay, well, is it somewhere that's shortable? So I was just talking about Amazon. being relatively weak and looking for that 83. You saw how strong Meta was, and I could kind of look at Amazon not doing a heck of a lot here. And I'm thinking, okay, I want to just short Amazon off a level like this. It's like the second I offer 89, it's like insta-fill. Okay, well, that was pretty easy to get. A lot of times, if you put a passive offer in and the first thing that happens is the algos take that offer, it probably sucks. It's not always true, it's just kind of sometimes true. But I want to give it to 83, so I'm short at 89. So I'm risking 11 pennies plus slippage, call that 13 cents. And I wanted something that was, beneath VWAP, trending to the downside, not breaking at the highs. Instead of getting out of Meta at the high of the day to play a little bit of a reverse on this move, I decided I'd rather just go into something weak for a scalp trade, hold on to Meta through the top, and play with it that way. So I'm risking 13 cents. I'll bid some once it goes like, the first leg, probably 10 cents in the money, so it's close enough to 1-to-1. And then some like 15 to 20, and then the usual. Like it's a scalp trade at this time, like just about everything else is. I'll zoom in so this looks a little better. That's why it's not scaling. It's that wick. There you go. That's what's going on there. So I'm gonna get my bids out. If it takes out 83, I want to be out. If it pops to 83 and rejects it, then that's a place to be able to add some 95s. This kind of allows me to hold on to Meta, see what happens at that top. If we get a reversal, well, I feel like Amazon should fall to the downside. I want to be long Meta anyways. I can always trail Meta out and just take some out in this range, but I'm going to be in theory, winning on Amazon as it comes back in to said downside. I was looking at ATNF, by the way. I was looking at ATNF because that 350 level, which was the breakout price, it just flat bottom broke it, bounced clean off of 320, and just feels like if it rejects 350 again, I'm pretty sure I paid for locates here. So if it rejects 350 again, I'm sort of seeing a scalp trade off this flat bottom break, like a 40 short, give it to like 50, play it into 20s. That's about 30 pennies on a $3 stock. So if I can get, first of all, hopefully I paid for locates on this, but if I can sort of get something in around 40 on this, give it to 50, play it into VWAP, that 350 was a pretty key price here. Now that you've broken back below it, I think there's an opportunity for a short. I did pay for locates, so I'll see if I can get it. I'm going to offer 39 in front of 40, and I'm offering 40s as well. If I get the fill, stop it at 350, and then work down into VWAP. I kind of want to be passive here because it's a cheap stock. So every penny, it's not the end of the world, but the pennies kind of matter when it comes to this. There's an amount you don't want to chase it. I'm already 10 cents away from where I want to put a stop. Chasing it 15 cents kind of changes the risk to reward too much. But new position is in Amazon. That's starting to roll over a little bit. So as Meta comes back again, not against me, but back down into VWAP, I decided short Amazon. We'll play out here. I'm waiting at 82, where am I? 82, 80, 82, 81. So we'll get a fill if it comes down another couple of pennies. Then I'll work something into front of the 70s, and hopefully we can ring the register on some Amazon shorts. Now remember, when we first were looking for short trades, the first place I went to was Amazon to try to get a winner. So I like that graphic. I don't know why I hit that one. I hit it because I only have 20 graphics, which sucks. I used to have like 100 of them. But yeah, just looking for something relatively weak. It was hanging out beneath VWAP. It was giving you the range. So you wait for the top of the range and then try to get it back into the bottom. Now the second I got filled there, it goes right back to the top. In some cases, I would reload. Nope. Not going to reload this trade until I see some better signs of weakness. There's no way it should come right back into that channel. The second it actually fills somebody, it just jumps right back up. That's too easy. That's like buying right after it sees buys. Yeah, I'm not going to reload this trade. Like if it breaks higher, I don't even want to give it to 83 anymore. Like that's a little strong. I'm going to look for some longs here because that's a little strong. I'm not reloading this trade. I'm going to get out if it breaks 89. It's a gut call. I don't want to say it's a gut call. It's my reaction to getting the fill down there for first profit that I don't want to give it as much room. So I'm just going to tighten my stop up here. I could be wrong about this, and sometimes it's okay to be wrong. But when I see the reaction to getting filled at 80, be an immediate jump up and then bull flag when the market just made a big move to the upside, yeah, okay. I can get out of the short a little bit easier and look for some longs. I did get ATNF, so that just came in there. 339 I got. I'll give it to 350, see if it gets to VWAP.
Couple things here. Yeah, the market's making a pretty nice move to the upside, I think. I saw some people talking about NVIDIA and some of the chips there. I wanted to look back at Apple because I was trying to go long off this 128 area, and it was like at 128.30, 128.20 consolidating around here, and I was like, I don't really feel like I want to chase this, so I didn't, which is fine. Like, you know, I'll live with missing this trade. But while it really kind of took off and it reclaimed, and now it's back up to these levels at 129, right? So I remember back when we were shorting this down at like 127.90, and now we're like $1 above. So, you know, Apple has found some strength here in the day. I wanted to bring up NVIDIA as well because this made a nice move and kind of reclaimed VWAP too, and that's testing near the highs of the day. Is that real there? Did that just happen there? Okay, 144.80. So I just saw it jump from 144.60 and now testing 145. It did break 145 earlier. I don't believe that 146. Okay, so it looks like these are like pre-market wicks here, but it seems like this 145 area is definitely an area of interest. So I want to see like if there's any sort of size at that 145 area, potentially for a fade, but just because it's kind of faded off of that area a little bit earlier, right? So maybe if it's not broke, don't fix it sort of thing, and try to fade this pop. Maybe, you know, people taking profits into the rest of the day. We'll see. I was looking at AMD as well. I traded that a little bit earlier. I wanted to kind of get it. Well, I guess I could have got it around here, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. I was way too busy just kind of over trading Tesla there. But this one's testing the top end of this range as well. Very similar price action to NVIDIA, but it seems like NVIDIA is more of a channel trade here, right? So it is testing this 144.90 area. Let me actually just toss out a feeler position there just to try to like feel this trade out and see. There isn't much size there at 145. I'm seeing on my side screen there's like maybe like 150 lots, so that doesn't matter obviously. But obviously, you know, I'm gonna wait to see how it reacts around this, if there's actually gonna be sellers above there. If there is, or if there isn't, and there's like continued buying above there, I'm probably just gonna quickly stop out and see where this goes and reassess here. So it did take that 145 area. The market is testing VWAP here, so maybe find some resistance, but yeah, I don't wanna get run over on this name, that's for sure, so I'm gonna run a tight stop on it.
You're long Tesla still, eh?
I am long Tesla, yeah. I'm $1.20 in the money on that one.
So just a serious question. Why the ass did you, sorry, why the heck? Anyway, why did you apologize for talking about Tesla? That's a good trade. So you're not over trading a stock if you're going long a bunch of times and it goes up.
I was over trading here. I'm gonna try and fix this wick because I want to show you guys what I was kind of doing. So you'll see a bunch of buys here, and I was basically trying to limit my risk. Essentially, hold up here. Let me just make sure that guys, I get my stop in.
Just quickly, I know you're handling your business there, but remember I was just talking about what happened in Amazon, the way it reacted to that little dip. So so it goes 89.80, right? So think about the even dollar levels. It goes 80 or even penny levels. It goes 89.80, or yeah, 89.90, sorry. Flushes back down into 89.80, gets a fill with a real non-algo order, and then immediately pops right back up to break even in this channel and then breaks out the channel. Remember I said I'm not giving it to 83, I'm tightening up my stop? That was one of those calls, just like that looks too strong. That's like just reading the tape and reading the price action. And sometimes you're wrong about that. Now what I could have done here, and I tried to pretty quickly, I have an order that I'll cancel now. Once I got out, I stopped out automatically because I just put a stop order in. One of the things I was like, oh, I want to get this long. Let me just jump in on the bid and see if I can reverse it to the long side because that's a strong move. I wasn't quite fast enough to get it, so I missed that long. But when you get a read like this, it's still like a mini bull flag, and the market just made a serious move to the upside. I'm going to let Meta ride, man. I hope somebody got it at VWAP. I got to cancel my bids because the consolidation buys are pretty much gone here. We're through the high of the day, which means I want to, when in doubt, zoom out, right? So now we're in the long end of this trade. You zoom back out, you're like, how far can Meta go? I wish I could say any further than, I'm looking 119.75 to 120. Like that's the target zone here. So once we touch up to 75, I'll probably slap a trailing stop on it. When you look at what the ES is doing, it's coming all the way to resistance from lunchtime. Like we never got past this zone. That 38.40, 45 to 38.50 could never clear out of this zone. We've gone top to bottom a couple of times here. So when in these longs, my gut is telling me with 45 minutes to go in the session, I want to make sure I ring the register and take these profits. So once we get into that zone, I'm going to have an offer in front of 120. I'm going to put a trail once we get to 75. and then go from there. The shorts I have, LUV, just to go back to Love, that's very close to trailing me out, actually about 2 cents from trailing me out. I'm bidding here. I said I would put a trail if it broke the channel. Hasn't quite breaking it yet, so either gets me to the bottom or breaks the channel in literally 3 cents, I should say. And then I don't think ATNF cares what the overall market is doing. So I'll leave that one alone. ATNF is a small cap. As the market rallies, I don't really think, I don't think this is going to concern me too much being short this with the market rallying. It's got its own structure. As Greg said when he was on, there's a very different story when this starts to go, versus when Kala goes. When Kala was going, we got $5, $6, $7 winners on Kala. That was going to prices it hadn't seen in a long time. And as Greg was mentioning, we were just here and failing these prices miserably a week ago on ATNF. And that's why I do favor the short when it broke back down beneath that 340.
I'm just watching this NVIDIA position that I'm in, and it almost seems like, you see these wicks here off of this, and this is a 3-minute chart, off of this 145 area. It almost seems like it's trying to get some liquidity and potentially go back down, because I'm watching the market, and I'm listening to Neil talk, obviously, and the market is ripping. And I'm watching my Tesla position go deep in the money, and I'm here caught short on NVIDIA, 10 cents out of the money. It doesn't really matter too much, but I'm not seeing necessarily the same price action on NVIDIA here. It's not exploding to the upside like the rest of the market. And now the market is actually kind of pulling back a bit off of that 38.50 area, right? So I'm almost more comfortable with this short now on NVIDIA, that if the market does pull back here and some of these names start to pull back with it, it could cause NVIDIA to have a more extended move to the downside and maybe come back down to this consolidation area, 144.60. This is not a trade that I'm putting a lot of my risk on, guys, by any means. But it was just something that I spotted, I wanted to try. I'm not giving it too much risk, probably risking up to the 20 area. But nonetheless,
they're busting your balls, by the way, just so you know.
Who is?
Look, when you type a symbol in,
okay.
So here's the thing. When you type in a symbol, if you've been trading for a long time, and I've been trading for a long time, you get into a habit of every stock is its ticker, right? So it doesn't look like NVIDIA. It looks like NVIDIA. That's why I said this. How many times have I said it this
I don't know.
week?
It's just easier for me to just pronounce tickers the way that they're spelled, right? Obviously Tesla is a little bit different, but
I said it this morning. You can say whatever the heck you want as long as you do it. As long as you kicking butt on the show, you can call the stock whatever you want to call the stock. Does it matter to the price action? Come on now. If it's gonna roll, I like to short at this level. I'm just not in it yet. But I like to short here, and I was short NVIDIA earlier at this price, but it got to it broke 115, wicked to 115.15, which was afternoon support, morning resistance, very early, before 7 a.m. So I let it wick top a couple of times and shorted it above 145. I said 115. Waited for it to get above 145 and then shorted it. That's what I want to see. I want to see it wick, which it's just done. Then it gets to 115. I'll zoom in so you can now see. Run a few stops up there, trap some longs, and then when it's back below, that's the short I look for. But, truth be told, it's not how you say the stock, it's how you trade the stock. It's your risk to reward and all those things. We just have fun with it here with Elon Musk and Tesla and what else did we say wrong? It was Marin or Marin, M-R-I-N, whatever stock that was. I was saying that incorrect for months, man. And I actually still don't know which one. Is it Marin or is it Marin? M-R-I-N. You guys know. You guys tell me which one it is because I still don't know. Sharif.
Yeah, guys, not really market moving stuff, but Nikola down almost 10.5% on the day. It's as a result of $125 million offering in senior convertible notes. The market not liking that and the stock selling off as a result. At near low of day, guys.
See, and now all of a sudden NVIDIA looks like it wants to come back to the downside. But every time I hear Nikola, I think, Nikola. Ricola. Which, by the way, I actually had to shout out to Luca because you wouldn't have noticed this. You can probably tell that I still have my cough when I was sick a month ago. I'm fine now. But Luca was just a machine because he actually needed cough drops. I lent him a Ricola and a Halls just so he could get through the midday show. Couple of things just happened. One, Meta trailed out. Well, that kind of sucks, but know, we got that. We were long off this for a while and kind of letting it ride. So it just trailed at 119.50, but I've been long it since lunchtime. But we're now out of that one. So that came out. Love broke the channel to the upside. Another one that I was holding for a while. I was holding out for 33 even. Broke VWAP, broke consolidation here, so I'm out of that. And just in, you guessed it, NVIDIA. So my entry was, you know, let it get to the high, then see it consolidate off of that high. So once I get the consolidation off the high, then I enter the position with a stop at the high of the day, which is, I guess, too obvious. It'll probably run it sometimes when it does that. And if we can, I'll get some out around 1-to-1, then play into VWAP is generally the way I like to go for it. If we do flush some more, I still like the idea of Apple, but I don't think we're going to get it at the prices we had before. So I got to cancel this and start thinking about where can I pick up Apple on a dip buy. Because I got NVIDIA off the top because Apple kind of pressed through. You know, the 129 was really good. This kind of pressed a little far past that 129. So I don't love it as much where I liked it before. I'm really just thinking about like 128.50 to 60. That could be the area that I like. So I'm in NVIDIA short. That's a new position. Trailed out of Love and Meta for winners. And I'm still bidding Mullen at 28.5. 28.5 on Mullen. I'm looking to catch a bid.
Yeah, I was short Love in the morning there. And Neil and I were briefly talking about it as well. I think you mentioned you wanted to go short like 33.75, and I think you did that, right?
It was 75 to 34 even.
Oh, okay. So that was like, and I was trying to look on the chart, like why
go
were you?
Go to a 15 or a 30 minute.
Okay, let me try a 30 minute here, because I just wanted to kind of learn the insights here from the master himself and see why this was the area, because it was a great short, obviously.
So basically, when you're on the 13s, you can kind of go back to Ian's chart because he's got it up here. So you see the gap down beneath 35, right? So they had the news of all the cancellations. You gap down, breaking the 35 level. That'll be kind of
okay
right
around
there,
here.
right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The first day was pretty easy shorts. And the second day, you had that continuation on the move, and there's that bottom at 34.
Okay.
But then look where it makes the high when it makes the recovery on day 3. Now I lost on the short on day 3, short in the even dollar at 33. But it makes a top right in around that 33, like 33.70 to 80 area. So it's that little channel where it broke down on the second day, and where it found price acceptance on the way back up. And so I wanted to get in there because a lot of people would just simply look at some of those highs with a round number, throw stops there. It breaks those stops. You know what? Let me go to my chart. So it might be easier for me to say this when looking on my own chart. Sorry, guys. We're doing this in real time. So a lot of people are probably just looking at the previous high, like yesterday's top.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Right? And so when it runs those stops, you've tried, like a lot of people that are short this and like, oh, it's a bad stock, we're going to short it in the short term, they're going to get stopped out here, and then you're going to relieve a bunch of pressure. And then you're going to run into the zone where you had all kinds of like acceptance on the bid on the first day, which completely fell apart on the second day, and then this lower high here. So you've got this nice little no man's land where I can short it to the first day, late day resistance, which is 34. I'm short in a zone where everybody's been stopped out, and then you get a bit of free fall. Now, I don't think I managed the trade very well because I think I held out for a little bit too much. It's still a winner, but it's more about, and I've learned this from, when you short a lot, you begin to realize the best shorts are when other people get stopped out. That is the absolute truth. When other people, and that's best in both ways. When people get flushed out and panic, that's when a lot of times you want to be able to get in, and that's what happened here in NVIDIA. Exactly the same concept. Instead of shorting 145 on the way up in front of a round number, let it break 145, reject the pre-market high and resistance. Twice we've done this trade. And then short it when it comes back down, and it's already run some stops. It's already worked to 144.70. It is so much easier to get in after it's run people's stops, and there's a little bit of pressure relief. Now, the downside to trading that way is you run the risk of missing the move. A lot of times, I'm like, oh, I missed this trade, I missed that trade, I never got into this, it didn't quite give me the setup, because I was looking for it to make that move to be able to get in on the other side of the trade. But that's the way you want to play it, and if you'll indulge me here for a second, I'll go to Pinduo Duo as an example, maybe not today, because today I actually was good on the stock, but the day that I was bad on the stock. And that was this day, where I was, my number one trade and my first idea back on the 27th was short Pinduo Duo at the 88 level. I simply looked at it on the daily chart It's like, look, it's way overextended, ridiculous move. I don't understand why it's this strong. At some point, it's going to come back. It makes the high at 93. It breaks 90. And then you have this channel that gets formed all of a sudden beneath that 90 with 88 as resistance. So I'm like, if this thing pops, and there was news that morning on the Chinese ADRs, I'm like, if this pops, I'm shorting 88. Well, look, it goes to 88, touches 88.50, and falls to $85. So you think Neil must have had a great day that day. I was flat that day because Pinduoduo was my worst stock. Because I was getting my stops run multiple times up there, and it ran stops, came back in, and then it was a flush. Sometimes you miss that trade because you're waiting for it to do that. It never gets there, you don't get back in, but it is a very valid setup that when you get it, sometimes you have more confidence in it if you get that type of an entry, Sharif.
Still taking more of a macro picture here, guys, on the last trading day of 2022. Kind of not good news, I guess, if you're an equities investor. U.S. yields rise as 10-year posts biggest annual gain in decades. That goes back to 1972 when they started making regular interest rate hikes and tracking it. So, as you know, equities and bond yields inversely related. The higher the bond yields go, likely the lower the equities go because cost of borrowing and money becomes more expensive. So, good. Something more macro here to keep in mind, guys, as we go into 2023.
I love the macro look, and I think the major number we get next week is going to be the unemployment number. I think we see at the end of the week, and that'll be probably the biggest one. It will be seeing some jobs data, but you know this year it is all about the macro outlook. It's all about economic indicators because the Fed's going to lead the way. I was just talking to Ian about Futu. That's why the Futu chart is up. Completely unrelated to what I'm about to say here, but. You know, we're going to have ear to the ground, try to be trading and get momentum off these releases for as long as they're good. Because I remember so many years where you didn't have a raising rate environment where you cared about what the Fed was doing. And so you get these economic numbers and they would mean nothing because they wouldn't move the markets. Everything was stock individual. But we're in a time where you can glean some price action off of this data that we get. But I was just saying to Luke, because Ian was just saying to me, well, that was great. I was just looking for a reason for that trade. So what I wanted to show him was I just waxed poetic about how to get an entry with more confidence and why it works better. So I'll show you, as someone that just preached that for like 5 minutes, on Futu, all I was looking at for the gap down this morning, here's 48.5 on the daily chart. Now, they had obviously bad news. They got being alleged criminality, essentially, really on their business, and being asked not to solicit mainland clients for this fintech company in China. You had a 48.50 channel to 50. This is about that zone here where it tried to capitulate through 50 before on the way up, found some support and went skyrocketing. So when it gaps down beneath it, the first thing I'm thinking is 48.50 to 50 zone, right? So it gaps down. I short at the open, and I'm like, yeah, let's get cute about this and short in front of 45. Okay, that wasn't even that bad because I made some before I lost. But then I short, I'll go to the 3-minute here. Do I short on the way down? No. It gets up into that channel at 48. I get spooked because there's a program buyer. It runs 48.50, goes to 49, never gets to that 50 channel. So it rejects inside of the channel I was looking at on the daily chart, and then there's your flush for the rest of the day. That was the number one thing I was looking at this morning. So the reason I'm only battling back my day is because on the number one thing I was looking at, I like to short in this range, and I let myself trade it 3 separate times with a bad entry, so I've lost enough on it and I don't go back to the well for the 4th time. That's what when we say be patient, that's what we mean. So I'm not doing this to embarrass myself. It's more because, hey, I made that mistake, and if I make myself an idiot or talk about it over and over again, I'm less likely to make the mistake again. And that's why right after this, I got winners on Liado because I was more patient with it. I got a winner on PDD because I realized this mistake. I could have gone back to Futu, that would have worked. But let's go back to NVIDIA because the market just made a wick top. I want to draw this bid back a little bit because if you consolidate this tightly, after that worked. So I was just bidding here like 144, like 55 or 56 or something. But you get that consolidation low or high. If it breaks channel down, I should get something like, like 8 to 10 cents better than what I was bidding if it's going to make that flush. I'm just going to draw my bid back a little bit here just so I get a little bit more room back into this channel. I was bidding up here, just give it an extra 5 cents, because if it's gonna break this channel down, usually you're gonna get that extra 5 pennies somewhere in this range, so I might also try to go for it and then hold the rest for VWAP. So NVIDIA, I think we're both short NVIDIA. I'm sure your Tesla's doing just fine.
Yeah, it's like I'm almost like kind of hedging my positions here. You know, that Tesla position has just been hovering like above $1 in the money there. I did end up getting some out of NVIDIA there in the 70s or the high 60s, just to take some off of the position, and that was like a 20-cent winner for me there. So, you know, that was solid. But man, Neil's just dropping the knowledge, even for me today, which is why I was like really excited to, you know, come on the main show here with him and just kind of learn firsthand some of these trading techniques, right? So I noticed that there's about 3,700 people watching right now, and we're only at 770 likes, right? So, you know, if you guys can, just smash the like button. Let's get over 1,000 before we get into the, like, obviously we're getting into the last half hour for the rest of the day here. Let's finish off the new year strong. It's been a great trading year. Obviously, it's been a tough trading year. I know some of you guys are going through the chat and saying today's been tough, this year's been tough. There's no doubt, guys. There's no doubt. Trading is all about survival and it's longevity, right? You know, take those base hits, guys. Manage your risk accordingly, and you know, try to be in the game as long as Neil has been here, right? Because obviously it can be done, guys. So, you know, so don't get down on yourself. You just have to keep grinding. And I always tell Luca, like, never quit. I think that's a good you know, motto to kind of have. And just keep trying to learn as much as possible and soak it up. And that's what I'm trying to do here with Neil today. Given the opportunity to sit beside him here up on the main stage, it's been great.
Two things. One, so remember I was like, if channel breaks down in NVIDIA, I'll put my bid back further. Oh, maybe I would have taken that. So now I'm reloaded on this thing. So I don't know, maybe don't listen to me every now and then. But a couple of things. Excuse me, I still have that frog in my throat. Lee Trevino keeps asking me to sing in the chat. No. Nobody wants to see that. Not a single person, but you gave me...
To sing?
No, I'm not... no. I did it once.
Rap, maybe, I don't know about singing.
No, I did it once as a troll, because I rickrolled everybody on a Friday. Just because I thought it was funny. I'm old. I think that kind of a thing is funny. But you just said get us the likes. I'm not going to take another sip until we get to 1,000 likes.
We're almost there. We're 4 likes away, guys. Let's just pump it up. I know there's 4 more people in the chat.
I totally waited
2 likes away.
I waited till I'm like, we're at 995.
There it is, 1K.
Once you're at 1K.
There you go. Cheers to that, guys.
You see how selfish I can be? See, I'm mean. I can be selfish. But there was a good question there. Will I sing at 6,000 likes? Oh yeah.
Did they hit the 5K likes
Hell
for the
no,
chip?
we didn't get 5,000. I'm not eating that chip.
That chip is dangerous. I'm
not
telling you,
eating that
like,
chip.
I don't know if you've ever tried. I know you guys did the hot wings challenge, but I don't know if those sauces were that hot.
The sauces we ate for you guys doing the hot wings challenge were about. I think the hottest one was 150,000 on the Scoville. The hottest wing I've ever had is Armageddon wing here locally at Duff's in Toronto. That's a 650,000. And so here's the thing. After I agreed to eat that chip, if we get to 5,000 likes on the main show, after I found out that this chip is, I think it's over 2 million on the Scoville scale. So the hottest hottest wing I've ever had is 650,000. This thing is like 2 million. So I'm screwed, basically. But you guys keep not getting us to 5,000 likes, which, I mean, whatever, but
Hey, you want?
I don't want to do it. So
you want to see him do it? You gotta press that like button a lot more, guys. I'm telling you right now, I've tried.
But I'll sing at 6,000, like, because I mean, whatever.
Okay, we're upping the likes here, so you know what? We keep going here, higher and higher.
Let's do this only because I'm drinking right now. It's one beer. I'm not really, but here's what we'll do. Because my favorite doing the dishes song, and my daughter knows this, and my wife absolutely hates it because my daughter loves the song now, is I'll belt Rick James. And you know the one I'm talking about. I'll belt Mary Jane out, and then when I'm doing dishes, and then my wife is like, are you serious? Because then my 5-year-old will start doing like I'm in love with Mary. She'll be singing I'm in love with Mary Jane, and my wife is like, what in the heck are you doing? I'm like, it's a great song. Rick James is a legend. I don't care what anybody says. If you don't, here's the thing. Like, if you don't like Rick James, then, you know, like, we may or may not be friends. If you don't like The Wire, we probably are not friends.
The Wire is a great show.
It's a great show. And Rick James is a great artist. It is what it is. And there's certain songs out there that just, it's great. My daughter absolutely, if I do this, my daughter on command will start saying "We Will Rock You."
Oh, yes.
She's 5 years old. She loves Queen.
See, that's great because
she likes
like
Rick James. She loves Chuck Berry.
because like
real
obviously
music.
like your daughter's 5 years old. Like she has no idea like who these people are. You know, before obviously Neil has said, but it's good to kind of tell the kids about these things because they're like great moments in like our history. You know, they shouldn't be forgotten.
I knew I liked you, Ian.
Yeah, I have a decent, you know, music taste, movie taste, pop culture taste.
You know what happens? When Shawn and I talk like this, usually there's somebody around, and sometimes it's Brad. He's not doing it now, but that just makes fun of how old we are. I'm like, nah, man. Like
growing up, like I would, like my dad would put me through the ringer with like all these like you know, older movies, and like he would be playing like older music all the time. So obviously, like I like all the new stuff too. Don't get me wrong, but I know about the old stuff. I've been there. I've listened to it, and you know, you got to throw some respect up. On the Halloween, they had the Pulp Fiction costumes, and that was actually amazing. I was like, I'm like one of the first ones to get here in the office, and I walked in, immediately knew that they were Pulp Fiction. And it just looked so great, but yeah, so you got to throw some respect up for that. If you think,
like, look, I'll tell you right now, like, we ain't going anywhere, man. Like, Trader TV Live is going to be, if the market is open, we're here. So next year for Halloween, Shawn and I already know what we're doing. And the best part about it is, this is by far the best part about what we're going to do next Halloween, is Brendan is in. So this time, it ain't going to just be Shawn and I. Brendan's going to be on board with it, which is pretty cool. I want to get back to the market here. I think Au revoir says, if Tesla closes green, what might that say about Tesla for the coming week? So I don't want to read too much into this. Like the rally that we had in Tesla the last 3 days. I traded Tesla once short, and it's like, you know, give me a break. I had the top wick there. So I have this wick that I can't really do anything about. So I'm going to get rid of this. But the last 3 days, you've had this rally. But you get all that tax loss selling that ends, and then the stock here on the daily, I'll zoom in. When something does this, it's like 13 days in a row, or like, I don't know, like 14 out of 15, whatever the heck it was. When you get that kind of a move on an expensive stock, and all the doom and gloom, and everyone's been beating up on it, Elon and Twitter, that nonsense, and then you get tax loss selling at the end of the year, you know, Cathie Wood buying and it still goes down, and you get a 3-day rally and it ends up positive, I'm not putting too much into that. Like I have Tesla in the bucket of poised for a potential early year rally anyways. So whether or not it closes positive today, I don't think matters for that, because quite frankly, I expected it to hold that channel this morning. I didn't really think we'd get too much of a break outside of the range. So whether it closed at 24 or maybe even down at like 19, within that $2 of yesterday's close, I don't think it would have changed anything for me. It's really going to be more about, does that buying come in early for people that took the positions off, which is what I think's been happening the last couple of days. Sharif?
Yeah, not surprising here, guys. Futu Holdings getting downgraded by BOA Securities with a $27 price target. Not really seeing a reaction much on the stock. It's already down 31% on the day. So I guess this is part of a new cascading effect of downgrades coming in.
Oh, I can't believe that's still at the lows. Every time I look at that chart, it just reminds me of how poorly I traded it this morning. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And you shouldn't. So here's the other thing too. And now I'm just sort of like saying random things as they come to mind. As NVIDIA is going to stop out if it takes out high. This is strong. This move is actually pretty strong. I'm going to get stopped out at NVIDIA and ask myself why I trailed out of Meta, and maybe if I should be finding some other longs in here. But we have 10 minutes to go till Imbalances. As I get stopped out of that, if I get stopped out of that reload, I'm going to get back over to Meta because that was the one I liked for strength. If it has a consolidation here, I might try to pick up like 119.40s here. But what I was trying to get at, you can't avoid looking like, if you lose money on a stock, don't avoid that chart. Don't avoid going back over it again. Like, it's the first thing you should think about. Like when you do if you do trade review or write a journal, which I'm assuming people do, that's something you should do. You don't always have to write a journal when you've been doing it long enough, because you just kind of go over your charts and go over everything like on the train or doing your wind down or whenever you happen to do it. The place I start with is not the winning trade. It's the worst decision I made. Not the biggest P&L loser, not the biggest P&L winner, but the worst decision that I made. That could be a decision to get out too early. That could be getting into the stock at all. It could be holding it past the stop. Whatever it might be, it's the worst decision that I made. It's the first thing I think about when I'm reviewing my trade. So today, the worst decision, I just got mullen. The worst decision I made was definitely getting in at bad prices and not waiting for it to get to my price area on Pinduoduo. But I just got executed into Mullen. I did not get stopped out of NVIDIA. It came pretty close, but it looks like it did not actually run that high. But Mullen is in the retracement zone back into 28. I said I'd step in front of 28 and not want to wait till it got there. We got about 20 minutes left. This is a bit late for me to want to average into it. Probably could have canceled that bid, to be honest with you. I don't want to average it. Too late in the day. I think it will have to go sideways. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think what I can get for a winner. If I average into this in front of 28, can I get back into 29? I don't think that's going to be the case. So I probably could have canceled it. There's like a stacked offer against me here on Mullen as well. I'm just going to quickly show you this. There's a bit of a stacked offer, someone following it down. So if that breaks, I'll probably use that momentum to get me out topside, close to flat. Otherwise, a 28 stop there. But Sharif, you got another news story?
Yeah, not stock related though, Neil, but you know I have to get this in there. It looks like Cristiano Ronaldo, that is actually going to sign a 213, or depending on where you read, $214 million deal. That includes commercial endorsements with the Saudi club. That's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, there had been rumors about this for quite some time, since basically the middle of the World Cup, but I'm seeing from multiple reliable news sources, Yahoo Sports, CBS Sports, a number of institutions reporting on this one, guys. This is going to be interesting.
9 figures. Hey, good for him, man. Like, that's sort of the way that things go. Like, you get past, you get to a certain point in your career, and then you move away from the bigger leagues. Just take the money where it's more about, like, sort of your fame and whatnot. You know, we have Messi's coming to North America, I believe. Yeah, he's coming to. I don't know who he's going to. He's coming to MLS, but that's sort of what happens. I like to see it. The World Cup was fantastic. I'm not a Portugal fan because Canada first, obviously, but I'm an England guy. So if you know anything about football, or as you guys would say, soccer, if you're a fan of England, you probably are not in love with Portugal. So I've never been a huge Ronaldo guy, although I'll respect greatness when I see it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I absolutely, to my entire core, to the core of my being, I will never be able to cheer for Tom Brady. I'm a lifelong Bills fan. I love my Buffalo Bills. There's nothing about me. Like, when I see Tom Brady play, all I can think about is, will you please just throw an interception, and will you please lose? All that said, he's the GOAT. I know he's the GOAT. I respect that he's the GOAT. I just can't cheer for the guy. So it is what it is. Like, I can cheer for Michael Jordan. I have no dog in that fight, but I can respect greatness. I don't have to like it when you try to spend a decade losing to that guy and watching it twice a year on Sundays, and then tell me how much you like a guy like Tom Brady. Plus, too, the guy marries a. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? What are you doing? No. No.
Oh my God.
No. What? Are you crazy? No, you did not just do that. Was that you, Sharif? Which one of you did? Stop doing it. First of all, stop doing it right now. What are you guys doing? It's not funny. You think it's funny? I just got stopped out and lost money on NVIDIA, but I'm more pissed off about this right now. You guys know I don't like Dallas either. Look, the Bills I don't have to tell you why I don't like the Dallas Cowboys, okay? If you just do your research, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, so I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. Where's Fahad? Was Fahad here? It wasn't Fahad? No? That was you. Lucas, really? Lucas, oh, really, Luke? Of all people, Lucas. Of all people. Like, Lucas is supposed to have my back. Oh, man. If Fahad did it, I'd just, whatever.
I think he's been hanging out with Fahad a little bit too much, probably.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Man, I love the debates always
no,
that's
you
going
did
on.
not. No, you did not. Okay.
Just real quick, guys. I did stop out NVIDIA on that one. I'm happy that I'll bring up the chart here just so you can kind of see it. But I'm happy that I did take those profits out when I did on that one in the 70s there, and now it's showing some real strength, hitting a new high there. So stop out there. I'm not going to be mad about it or whatever, but. Yeah, basically flat on that name now. Tesla, here's my thing about Tesla. I'm holding one last piece here, and I put out a stink order there at 123. Just above 123 to get filled on the offer. Basically now I trailed my stop to I think like 122 or below there. Basically just waiting for it to hit either one now, right? So it's coming near to the end of the day here, coming near to the imbalances here. I probably want to be out of this position just before then, just to kind of limit my risk and limit my exposure. There's like 500 lots there at 123. I've seen this size get taken out numerous times here on Tesla, so I'm not concerned about that. It's probably going to get taken out. I'm probably going to get filled here on the offer. But man, this is what it is, right? Like, stick with it. Obviously, took some L's on Tesla early on in the day, but Tesla's one thing that I really do like to kind of trade, just because there is a lot of opportunity with it, right? But you got to stick with it, stick to your game plan, stick to your setups, and just execute. Execute if it's there, and now Tesla's like my best name on the day, right? So I went from being the worst to the best, right? So, I think that's a fine example of, how to keep your head in it and keep on your game.
Here.
Yeah, it does look like we are accelerating here. The market is breaking out this 3850 area. It looks like it's testing basically the highs of, I guess, the open market hours here, right? So do we get a big buy imbalance or a big buy move into the last 10 minutes? We will definitely see. Imbalances are coming in 3.5 minutes, right? So, going to see that one. It's going to be definitely interesting to close off 2022, at least a trading year. And then, obviously heading into 2023, into a brand new trading year. It's going to be an exciting one.
So the early, apologies, it's 3:46 already. Imbalances in 3 minutes. So I'm not putting anything new on with the imbalances on the final trading day of the year, 3 minutes away. But the early look is close to $1 billion on the buy side. So in 3 minutes, we will actually get the official imbalance. I'll be ready. I'll just get my imbalance locator up just so we can go over it. I know you're still in Tesla, so you might want to manage that one as well. Mullen doesn't care. Let's be real about that. So I'll have my imbalance locator ready to go. Every now and then on the final trading day of the year, you might see the big imbalances that can move the market. Typically, I find it's hit or miss. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't, that it's the last trading day. We're rallying pretty heavily into it, so if it doesn't come, it's indicating $1 billion to buy right now. If that comes out smaller off the rally we just had, you could see a bit of a reversal. That's a pretty strong move. When I look at what just happened in the NASDAQ, man, I'm mad that I got out of that meta trade. That sucks, because you held on to Tesla. Good for you for holding on to Tesla. I got out of meta and got trailed out of it. But that's a strong move. We broke at least a bit of that channel. We're not into the overnight highs, but you definitely broke resistance and a relief rally. Now, we're not green on the day yet, but definitely a decent relief rally. Thank you guys so much for sure. I know we had fun with that. I was half joking about all of that, by the way. Actually, legitimately, I really don't like Dallas. So, because I know what happens. It's I know someone posts that and it's like, oh yeah, look at Neil, he's a big Dallas fan. When I had to wear the Italian flag on my face because Italy beat England and Shawn and I had a bet. I keep it real, man. Bills Mafia is not a joke. I used to be a season ticket holder. You sit there.
You used to be a season ticket holder of Bills?
Yeah, we used to go down to all the home games. I'll tell you what, you try sitting in the snow watching a team that you know is not going to make the playoffs for a few years and then talk to me about being a real fan. That's what real love is, man. Stadium wasn't even all that great, but it's the best fans and best community in the entire NFL. It's amazing. I love it. Don't really get down as much now that I have a family, but I'll tell you, that's one of the things that the U.S., you guys get it right. You guys get it right when it comes to college sports. You guys get it right when it comes to what sports can bring in terms of a team and camaraderie and a community. That's what we try to do here. And you don't get the same thing. We got the CFL, college sports, no one even cares. You don't have alumni going en masse to Canadian football college games like you guys do with your bowl games. I'm just going to get out of Mullen here. Come on, let me just.
Yeah,
you know
imbalances
This is
are
enough
coming
for
up.
Puff. I'm just going to get out of Mullen. This gave me a reprieve. Like, it gave me an out, so I'm just going to take it.
Yeah, imbalances are coming up here in 15 seconds. So I'm just in this test position, a small size here. So I'm basically just waiting for this order to hit. I'm rolling the dice here on this imbalance just to see if it is a big buy imbalance. I'm assuming that Tesla is going to participate in that.
Whoa,
and I
Apple,
just got it. Yeah, so I just got that.
3.5 million to buy. Disney 2.4 million to buy. BAC 1.8 million to buy. This is probably multiple billions, is my guess. I got Pfizer, Cisco 1.2, 1.3, Microsoft $1 million on the buy side, Alphabet 800,000. What's to sell? Verizon to sell for $4 million. Amazon, I missed Amazon. Amazon's 2.2 million to buy. So you know the market just shut up on that. I'm going to look at Apple quickly. Look at Apple, like running top side here. So maybe we have a chance to get green. Would that be amazing? Do you imagine? We never flipped it from the bear at any point. Apple's about to go green. We get green. That's a pretty impressive rally. So it looks like we did get that nice little 3 days in here. We're not going to be green just yet, but I do think the NASDAQ had a chance to be green on the week if it could have pushed a little further. But the ES, I'm pretty sure, even if it closes here, it ticks a little higher, it's actually up on the week, and I know the Dow is. So not that bad, not that bad. We'll definitely take it. Had a lot of fun here. For everyone that's asking, I put it in the chat, it's Molson Canadian. We're here the trading floor is here in Toronto, Canada. So this is a Molson Canadian. Shout out, I asked this last time and everyone always just puts in like, it blows up the chat, but what's your go-to? My go-to is actually Innocent Gun. The rum cask Innocent Gun is like the best beer in the planet. That's what I love. You guys let me know what you enjoy, but right now we're having a Molson.
Yeah, guys, I'm not really seeing too much here in the imbalances. I got this quick order here on that imbalance there. That's how I kind of played it on the long here on Tesla. That order filled at 07, so I'm at all my positions now. It's been a solid day for me, I'd say. Started the day off a little bit shaky, and then kind of, made it a lot better here throughout the day. Obviously, it's my first time trading on the morning show live, right? So, had to adapt to that one, but I think it's been good. I think it's been an exciting show. It's been an exciting year, that's for sure. I've been here now since March. I've been trading live, so this boat wraps up, 10 months. For me, 9 months, I guess, trading live here on the floor. It's been a great year. I'm excited for 2023. I think big things to come for sure. Hopefully, more things in play next week other than Tesla, because I'm kind of getting bored of trading Tesla. I want to trade some more things.
Did you make money trading it?
I definitely did. Yeah.
Then you're not bored trading.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. That's the one thing I learned. Like, I said this yesterday. I probably said it several times. When I started out, I was trading big cap. Tech names. As a trainee, I was basically flat. I could get up a little bit, and I was doing okay for a couple of months, but I couldn't graduate doing it. Here you have to make a certain amount, then you graduate from a trainee to a full-time trader. I was pointed toward low-cap stocks, and I just made money doing it. The first month that I was trading them, I was positive, and then the next month I graduated midway through that month, and that's where I found my base. It wasn't what I found the most fun. It wasn't what I thought it wasn't what I thought I was going to do when I got into trading. It's just what worked first. And that's where you want your foundation to be, because without a bankroll and without a foundation as a trader, you can't really live through those ups and downs and develop that process. So, hey, man, you made money on Tesla today. Be damn happy to trade Tesla next week and then trade it every single day. Like, that's what you got to do. You see Shawn and AMD for a reason every day. Like you saw me shorting Intel most every day, generally speaking, for a reason, because you kind of just do what works, and that's the best way to do it. Someone just said, Robert Isaac, can you tell us about your biggest red day? So I had a couple. There's the biggest red day is actually not the most interesting, because it was the second time. It was actually pretty stupid. It was the second time I was trading a new market, and I over leveraged myself and just took a dumb hit, and it was trading in the Brazilian market because it wasn't. I don't want to get into how that market works at the close. But anyways, it was a bad hit on that stock. But the actual, what really would be the worst, real bad trade that I ever had, I want to say it was stubbornness that got me into the trade, or that got that trade. It always begins with a mistake, and sort of not recognizing how bad that mistake might be. And it usually starts from a bit of euphoria, right? So the worst trade I ever had was on a day where at the time I had had my best morning. So I was trading essentially like a leveraged buyout, and I was crushing the stock. And I was up my biggest day of the month within the first hour and a half. And then I got really, really overconfident. Did that thing where you're up, so you risk more. And then I was so right about where I thought the short was on the stock that I just took everything that I was up and went like 5x to the point where I had so much liquidity that when it started running stops, I couldn't get out safely, and then ended up losing not just my entire day, but getting shut down. So for my best day that month, and actually that year probably, early on in 2 months, I went to being shut down on the day because I took what I was up and then decided to just go bigger in the other direction and then just kept averaging into it because I thought I was right. I wasn't right. The only thing I did correctly was at the point of no return where there was just no liquidity left. Instead of being stubborn, I punched out. And I found out about 4 to 6 months after the fact that there's another trader that I know who trades 10x what I do, was in the same position. And I had punched out before him. And if he had punched out before me, I would have lost 10x what I lost because he had that big, he trades just a larger size than I would have at the time. And I didn't know that. If I had not given up that trade and just taken my shutdown as my worst trade of the year, then I would have lost even more because there would have been no liquidity left on the stock. So the lesson I learned from that is it's not always the right decision to just trade larger because you're up on the day. You should trade every position because of its own merits, because this is the risk to reward I see, because this is my entry, this is what that setup does for me, this is where I'm wrong, these are my take profits. That's the reason we don't talk about P&L, because quite frankly, it literally doesn't matter. You make decisions when you're trading, and you want to make quality decisions. If you trade your P&L, you're going to risk more when you're up. And when you see an A+ setup and you're flat on the day or slightly down, you're not going to take it when you think about your P&L. That's just human nature, and that's true. I don't care what anybody says. You want to believe that's not you, but it is you, and it is me, and it is everybody. If you are up, you get overconfident, you got to trade the setup, and that's why we talk about setups here. And by the way, Apple 130. Wow. Hold Tesla, just roll it into the close, man.
I had the cover on off the imbalance there. It just spiked up and wicked me in. We're basically at the same price anyway, so whatever. But yeah, it's been a good day here. Yeah, Neil is preaching facts. That's something that I've been really trying to focus on the past few months is getting away from anchoring, against P&L and stop looking at P&L and whatnot. Just trade the trade for what it is. Just trade each trade individually and take it on the chin, right? P&L, it's just like a byproduct of trading well, right? So just take good trades and the P&L will kind of come, and that's what you kind of have to work at. Amen. Yeah, everyone is loving it here in the chat. Ian, let's trade Tesla next year. Do you think we should be long Tesla or short? I don't know, man. I don't know. I like it long above 100. We didn't really test it though, that 100. We got down to like 108 there, and then obviously Kathy started buying there. I saw it earlier. I just want to touch about this. I think I saw it earlier in the morning. Someone said Kathy bought 5 million shares. Guys, Tesla's doing like 200 mil a day. 5 million is not going to really do too much. So don't hinge a trading idea off of that one. I just want to say that real quick. Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Obviously, it's the end of 2022. It's been a great year, and looking forward to next year. That's for sure.
Shout out to you for stepping in here today. I think it's not easy doing this. You guys know this if you've been watching long enough, like trading, sort of showing why you get in, why you get out. I look at my chart right now. Pull my chart for a second. Remember Apple was the trade of the day? That's me getting out. This is me getting out at 128. No joke. And I'm up on Apple today, but just look at that. And now it's at the high of the day. Like it is what it is, and that's sort of like the way that things go sometimes. I was looking for longs. I was in Meta, probably the wrong decision. Apple was maybe better, but that's going to be part of it. Now I have to ask myself, why was I not long Apple, and why did I like Meta better? Why did I want to trade something else over this? That's part of the game here. But thank you guys for the fun time. Obviously, we have less than 1 minute to go. I don't know who's ringing the bell. So hopefully we figure that one out in the next 45 seconds or so. Look, we try to do our best here to sort of open ourselves up to you. That's what TraderTV.live is all about. And that's all we're going to do to you. Every single day, we're just going to give you our experience and to the best of our abilities. And we get some right, we get some wrong. But the whole point is that you learn something from it. Whether you win or lose, this market's going to teach you something pretty much every single day. I see Liz making her way over to the bells. Looks like we have Liz going to ring the bell. She's doing a great job this week. We had Lucas off a little bit. She was filling in, doing our social as well. Fahad's not in, so she had to take part of that. But the last countdown of 2022 in 5, 4, 3, 2, and... Thank you so much, Liz. And I want to shout out some members here because Addie, member for 8 months. Thank you. You guys are wonderful. We love you. We got Christopher, 24 months, 2 years. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and cheers. We got another one, Mendo, 3 months. Love that you found us. Hope that you stick with us. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And Farm Trader with the gift, 10 memberships there. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys are fantastic. Oh, we got Steve G in the house. 2 years, a member as well. I want to get to, at some point, I want to get to Sharif here. We keep seeing them come through. And I love it. Wall Street Fighter, almost 2 years. You'll be here next year. We'll be here. Let's go. Let's go get that cash. Let's get better. We all want to be better traders in 2023. But Sharif, how close did we get to green?
Look at this, Neil. These are basically the 6 big cappers that we mostly follow. All of them decidedly up and aggressively up, actually, towards the end. Let's have a look at those North American markets. We came real close, Neil. 0.29 to the downside on the S&P, 0.36 to the Dow. The NASDAQ was the closest, 0.09, essentially flat, Neil. Toronto didn't do so well. The commodities heavy and the oil heavy index not really finding the bounce that crude found, almost 2.5% to the high side for crude, but the commodities heavy index in Toronto not finding that move up. The BOVESPA basically down 1%. Bitcoin and Ethereum almost flat, guys. Guys, this is it. This was the last trading day for 2022. 2023 is right around the corner. I wish that you guys have the best year coming up. I hope that you were able to stay a little bit profitable this year. I know it's a tough year, but there definitely was volatility in the markets to take advantage of, and I hope we get some more of that next year, guys.
Definitely. So I did this. I don't care. I'm putting it on the bull, but I have a reason for putting it on the bull. 2 reasons, actually. So the NASDAQ in the aftermarket, I see the Qs getting green in the aftermarket, but since not yesterday's close, since the open, we're up 1%. So that means when the market opens, we're up 1%. As long as we're up, that's a trend to the upside. Forget about where you closed yesterday. That's a technicality. We're going to put it on the bull. You guys know it's Friday. It also happens to be the last trading of the day, but it's also Friday. So I wasn't actually ready for this, and then someone reminded me that it was Friday. So I do have a little something for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. If you don't know who this is, I did tweet something out earlier where I gave a hint as to at least what the group might be. It's a little cryptic, and I hope a couple of you guys figured out. So I'm going to try and do this legend a little bit of justice here as we drop it. Honey, check it out. You got me mesmerized with your black hair and your fat ass thighs. Street poetry is my everyday. But yo, I got to stop when you come my way. If I was working at the club, then you would not pay. Hey, yo, my man Fife Diggy, he got something to say. I like him brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, a Haitian. Name is Fife Dog from the Zulu Nation. Took you at the club, now we can get down. Now let's knock the boots like the group H-Town. You got BBD up on your bedroom wall, but I'm above the rim and this is how I ball. A gritty little something in the New York streets. This is how I represent over this here beat. Talking about you, yo, I took you out. But sex was on my mind for the whole damn route. My mind was in a frenzy in a horny state, but I couldn't drop dimes because you couldn't relate. Hopefully you guys can relate to my man Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest. I love Tribe. I love the Tribe. Anyways, look, it goes without saying, but from the entire team here, thank you guys so much for a fantastic year. Next year is going to be even better. We're going to have Shawn back, of course. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to have Brendan back in the new year. Arun will be back. He's been off. I cannot say enough about the job Sharif has done filling in for Brendan's shoes.
Crushed it. He's crushed it.
Everybody that sits in that chair has to fill some big shoes for Shawn. Greg did a great job. You've done a fantastic job. Brad and Luca, you guys absolutely killed it. Fahad everybody. I mean, obviously Lucas as well, for Liz, for Katrine, for Justin, for our producer who never wants to come on air. That's absolutely fine. We love everybody here, and we just want you guys to have fun, enjoy the weekend, be safe, enjoy, and we will see you in 2023.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, guys.